It's loading. Seems like my internet's a little bit slow today or something. Okay, we are in. We're in. Oh, and I just put way too much moisturizer on my hands. That was way too much. All right, good morning. Yes, oh my goodness, right? Last friggin' training. So let me press record. So our welcome to our week 14 of our Trust Intuition to become a certified intuitive healer. It's 2021. It's the 11th of October, 2021. We're finishing on the 11th of October at almost 11:11 in the morning, 2021. So this is our last training. Now, there's a lot, our last live training. There's a lot of like catch-up videos. There's a lot of extra videos to watch, right? And it was kind of overwhelming myself a little bit yesterday, just going like, how do I put all this together? Because I literally have to like, I think when it gets to the end, it's kind of like, okay, have I covered everything? How do I organize this now? And I almost deleted all the old trainings. No, I'm kind of kidding. I didn't. I was just like, because I just like, it feels like there's so much in there, like when you log in. And I was like, how do I organize this? And now the new training's here. And Tamara's like, I was checking with Tamara. I was like, I'm not clear on this. What do I do? Like, do I delete this stuff? Like, just, and she's like, oh my God, Hannah, if you're going to delete it, like, please tell me so I can download everything to my computer. I was just like, okay, I won't delete it. I was just trying to like clean it up or organize it, right? So let's just start by, I'm going to bring this up a little bit here. Where are we? So if I can share the screen. So when you log in, you guys would see something like this. So I've just I haven't finished organizing it yet because I wanted to obviously finish this training. I started doing it last night, so obviously we were close. And like I said, I'm gonna, put all the things into, all the PDFs into a hard copy book or a folder or something. I'm not quite sure what the final outcome of it looks like yet, but it'll be like all the PDFs and, and then all the meditations and everything, because there's all your tools that you're going to have that you're going to be able to use with your clients, etc. It might be a binded folder or something. I have looked into it, end of last year, but I hadn't done anything with it yet because I wasn't clear of what I needed. But now this is sort of coming to completion. It's getting clear about what we're doing. So when you log in, it looks slightly different just because we've put, I've just put the latest trainings there first. And then obviously all the, downloads and stuff like that are in each of the pieces, as you probably have seen if you've logged in at all. I haven't put the Intuitive Healer and Life Purpose Activator assessment questions there yet, but they will appear next to the Trust Intuition ones. Okay, so you've got the Trust Intuition assessment questions, okay, because there's two lots. There's the Trust Intuition assessments, and then there's the Intuitive Healer assessments. And as I had shared, in the last couple of weeks, I've been putting the last couple of weeks of the Intuitive Healer stuff together. So you'll have this PDF as well, which is just the Intuitive Healer assessment questions. And then you'll have the Trust Intuition assessment questions, and then you'll have all these ones, which these are the, ones you have to cover. And then you would submit them in here or in the Intuitive Healer ones when I fix that up. So then as well, and we're going to cover this a little bit later in today's training, but there's also the bonuses. And when I, like I said, put everything together, I will make sure that there's the you must complete this for your certification. And then I'll put the optional extras to say advance your training if you may, as it goes exactly 11:11 now where I am. So there is a few things to cover and go over aside from the live trainings. And then you've still got access to the old 2016 trainings. They've just been moved a little bit, that's all. And then everything else, yeah, I'll organize it completely as well. So let me just jump out of here for a moment. Just as Saturn goes direct. Yes, that's right. Of course, right? How would it be any other way? Okay, so I'm just going to bring up the comments here and share this. So on the Facebook thing, Facebook thingamajiggy. Okay. Code is reality. I'll just pop that in there. Okay, perfect. All right, thanks for all your comments in there, guys. I haven't gone back in there yet. I've been a bit nervous about it, to be honest. I'm like, anyway, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so let me bring up today's training. And I'll just see if anybody's got any questions. Yeah, so, okay. So what I want to say, like, it's our last live training. But what they showed me today is that I was going to do, like, another training next week. But it's not like a training. It's literally a support call specifically for Trust Intuition to be a certified healer. Next week feels too quick by the time I get all the finalized documents to get it all organized. And what I might do is like a recorded video of showing you where everything is, right? I feel like I'm going to do that. So then it's kind of like completed. And I'll try and get that done ASAP over the next couple of days, definitely by the end of this week. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold like a Zoom call like this in 2 weeks' time. So same time, but in 2 weeks' time, and then another one like 2 weeks later, right? So in a month's time from now. So the next 2 weeks and then 2 weeks after that. And that is like, so once you're like going through all your documents, going through all the trainings, finishing up things, like if you need questions, support, or if you're struggling with something, or you're like, how do I finish this, or whatever it is, you've got that extra bit of support here. So that'll be another one in 2 weeks, and then another one 2 weeks after that. So a month from today, same time as we usually do on these Mondays. So Sunday, Mondays, depending on where you are. So it's not kind of like the end, but it's the end of our trainings today. And was there something else I was going to say to that? Yeah, so it kind of gives you a bit of space to, you know, kind of catch up on things that you've missed or need to go over. And like I said, once you've got those final documents from me, it's going to be helpful to go through with that as well. All right, so if you've got questions, pop them in, of course, but we shall get started. Yeah, this one. All right, so, okay. Our final trainings, a bit excited. So today we're covering the sacred keys for being a powerful healer. So these are like things that I've learned over the years that I'm like fast tracking you through. Okay. Number one, your own self-care and boundaries. Because when I was going through this, I'm like, oh my God, I feel so embarrassed about this. Like, I feel like I've been bad with my boundaries or something. And I'm like, I was very much learning this at the time. But it's interesting because like yesterday I felt really good because I had really strong boundaries around my work, around my phone, around all sorts of things. Like for the first time in ages, it was really interesting. And then I was like putting together these slides and I'm like, that's right, this is how I fucking used to function. So I'm like, right, bringing this shit back. So sacred keys for being a powerful healer is your self-care and your boundaries. So this is your difference between burning out and deciding that healing isn't for you, or thriving in your spiritual business, right? Letting go of people pleasing and being able to say no gives you the strength to continue to rise as a light worker. saying no in the start is super uncomfortable, but then you will value your time and it will get easier and easier to say no with love, right? So in the start, because we're letting go of people pleasing role and we're letting go of saving the world, etc., when we do that, we are really able to, like, you know, like we start to really value our time. But what it really does, right? This is like such a big thing to realize and understand, guys. When you set really strong boundaries, right, with who you're helping, who you're working, phone, like, and the reality is that we're online. Like if it's in person, it's slightly different, but it's still the same, right? These are your boundaries around your phone, around logging on to social media, answering emails, checking things. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it's such a habit. We just pick it up and I was like we're zoning out or whatever, right? When we really have strict boundaries, we start to create energetic containers. And these energetic containers have like it's like a bowl around Facebook, a bowl around Instagram, a bowl around your emails, a bowl around yourself, a bowl around your food, a bowl like, and what starts to happen, it starts to separate all these things. And I know it sounds weird. You're like, but Facebook's just on my phone. It's like, and how many people are you connected to on Facebook? And what is like the web of Facebook itself and what it represents on this earth and blah, 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 right? Netflix, whatever you want to do, right? You have a ball around each. When you start to really have clear, separate boundaries and you say no, and you have specific dedicated times that you come in and you know, do whatever on those, you know, things or tend to those things, the balls start to separate. And so let's say, for example, if you can imagine there's all these sort of floating balls in front of you and they're all separate. Might be close together, but they're separate. Okay. When there's no boundaries, it's all just one big mush. And we're like, why am I feeling all this stuff? What's happening? Right. And when we've got these balls, we're like, oh, that's interesting. Oh, that feels interesting today. Right. And then we log out of it and we're like, whoop. We have a real separation. We have an identity of self, right? We're not mushed, we're not questioning things, and we're not clear, and we're not getting dragged down, etc. Okay, because when there's a mush and when we're constantly logging on, etc., it creates a mush. Okay, now in today's training as well, I'm going to talk about transitioning from free to paid, and we're going to go into this more deeper as well. Leanne says, oh my gosh, I've been feeling the same way. Oh, right on point. Right on path with the training. How about that? So this is your difference. I will say this again. This is your difference between burning out and deciding that healing isn't for you, or thriving in your spiritual business. I can't number the amount of people that have said to me, I burnt out doing my spiritual healing. I don't want to do it anymore. Right? If you don't have solid, clear boundaries around caring for yourself, around all the different pieces of your business and understanding the different business and your intuitive side and your business side and all the different pieces that come in and all the little balls inside each of those sections, right? And then your personal life, etc., then that's when you just go like that. So it's all big mush and you want to walk away. Yeah. So many don't have these boundaries and can't continue because of this. But a simple, strong boundary and work ethic is the difference between success and failure. It keeps you sane and knowing what energies you're dealing with, so you don't think it's you, dear sensitive empath. Boundaries are what allow us to be empaths and do what we're born to do, right? We learn to fine tune our intuitive psychic skills when we set boundaries with our time in the physical world on a physical basis, right? Because if we're constantly scrolling or we're just checking or we're just, you know, taking a break, checking, like it's a big mush. It really is a big mush. If you really want to accelerate and fast track your spiritual career, have solid boundaries, okay? So when do you need a break from spirituality? Because sometimes we will zone out because we need that, or like with me and with my Netflix, all right? But after what I've discovered in the last couple of weeks, I'm like, I canceled my subscription. And I posted in Transcendence Reality Society this morning, and I was like, wow, like everything I wanted to do with like taking all the video pieces from Netflix and like putting it on the thing, I'm like, after 3 days of cancelling and not sleeping with my phone in my room and having my phone in my office and just waking up naturally, because I have the gift that I can at the moment, and the cats usually wake me up to fucking go outside anyway, so that's my alarm, I've decided. So, you know, like after 3 days, like this morning, I'm like, wow, I don't even want to put that Netflix stuff together, you know, because, and I hadn't done it already because I was like, well, what's the point? I'm just saying all these bad things. I'm just showing all the bad AI stuff or whatever, right? I'm like, so where's the outcome? And sure, if I sit down and do it, maybe I'll get the solution. At the same time, I'm like, ugh, it feels heavy. It doesn't feel alive. Plus, I've already been getting all these other high vibe things coming in, right? Because I've created a strong separation and boundary, right? I realize having my phone in my room, it's easier for me to get up and just get on my phone. And I'm like, right, it's got to stop. So really strong boundaries. And now I'm like, you know, consciously trying not to get on my phone until like 9 a.m. in the morning. It's made a big difference. It's made a really big difference. Yeah. So when do you need a break from spirituality? And like I said to myself, like that was my thing. I'm like, oh, well, I watch Netflix to chill out. And I'm like, Hannah, you can do fucking many other things to chill out other than Netflix. What did we used to do before Netflix, right? So if you struggle with saying no and your boundaries, it is your people-pleasing part. Okay, so work with the shadow meditation or inner child on this role that you play. There is also, since I have created this original slide, there is also releasing roles meditation in third eye chakra consciousness. Chakra, goodness, consciousness. So there's also a specific releasing roles meditation now as well. So it is that, and you are role modeling to your clients that it's okay to say no, that it's okay to have healthy boundaries and take care of yourself by doing this. You are not leaving them in the lurch when you have given them the tools to take care of themselves from the session or after, like with their aftercare, right? When you teach a client, when you have a client and you follow the structure of trust intuition and you're teaching your client, especially with aftercare, about how to take care of themselves in a crisis or an emergency or anything like that, you know that you can also take care of yourself first and know that your clients know how to take care of themselves if they really like get to that point, they know what they need to do without you, right? Being there at the beck and call, yeah, because you've trained them that way, yeah. This also gives you time to reset your energy and do the inner work you need to do, plus live life and incorporate fun and playtime into your life, because otherwise we get bogged down, we burn out, we don't want to do it, and we want to walk away. Trust me, I've been there. Don't go there. Sometimes we need to go there to learn it, but hey, sometimes we're smart and we learn from other people so we don't have to fucking walk through the pain, right? So boundaries can look like not answering emails, calls, or text messages before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m. I want to say that includes people in your current life. It doesn't have to be work related. It could be family. It could be exes. It could be friends that drain your energy. It could be whatever, right? Not answering emails, calls, or text messages before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m. The difference between, you know, setting a strong boundary like that, you know, is like, okay, so let's say you didn't have that, you know, calls, text messages before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m. And, you know, you're going through a separation and domestic violence separation with your family, you know, with your ex, sorry, and, you know, going through court and got all the child stuff and whatever, like, and you know, you're being really good all day and everything. And then you start getting this barrage of text messages at like 8 p.m. and you're trying to get ready to go to bed. And then you just get all freaking wound up and all in your shit again because you fucking been answering and engaging in the text messages, right? Like if you set strong boundaries, that wouldn't happen. Your rule with yourself, and hey, maybe it's 7 p.m. for you, whatever, like set your own thing. These just examples, right? But when you have this strong thing, like, no, I don't answer calls, text messages, whatever, before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m. It's kind of like, it's urgent. They're going to, like, you know, I don't know, call the police, right? There's other people they can call if it's an urgent thing. If somebody's dying, they can call the police, they can call an ambulance. Like, that's what they're for. You know, if it's not urgent, it can wait till tomorrow because I'm more important, right? So boundaries can look like not answering emails, calls, text messages before 8 a.m. or 5 p.m. After 5 p.m. Can turn on voicemails or automatic email replies to support them if you are concerned about this. Like, there are solutions. You're not leaving people in the lurch. Okay. Voicemails, automatic email replies, all of that. Yeah. So not being on social media between the same hours. Yeah, it's like what we talked about before. It's an energetic break. It's an energetic self-care. Honestly, the difference that I've felt with keeping my phone just out, it's like, it was interesting. The first night I'm like, what do I do? Right? I could have read a book or something, but I just sat there. I just sat there in the silence. And it was so interesting just not having it in the room. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. I really liked it. An energetic break. It's an energetic self-care. Yes, let alone what we know about the radiation, the EMFs, etc. Even with Wi-Fi turned off, even with Bluetooth turned off, right? They still emit the radiation and EMF stuff with Wi-Fi, etc. turned off, right? So having it in a different location also, like I want to say it stretches the energetic elastic band, right? So very powerful thing to leave your phone in another room, as an example. Okay, I'm just giving you an example. One thing at a time. Turn off notifications. If you're sitting there and you're getting Facebook messages and ding on your phone, and every time you get an email, you get a ding, and then you get a freaking Facebook notification and you get a ding. It's just like, man, even if it doesn't bother you consciously, subconsciously, it's like a hook. 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 You shouldn't have notifications on. Right now, I used to always say that to people, like on any sort of on my live streams and stuff like that. But then I was like, oh no, then people won't join my live streams when I go live, right? But that's why I try to, like to notice if I do go live or something like that. Like if there are live streams you want to know, like find out when they're going to go live, like, write it in your diary, like set it in your diary so you create space for that, right? But turn off all notifications, especially when you start doing this as a business, like you just don't have notifications on, right? I don't have any notifications on my phone except for reminders that I set myself to keep my vibration high, like affirmations or money, goals or anything like that. And then the only other thing that I have is payment notifications. So when I get paid, then I get a payment notification that's specifically to increase my financial situation and love my money, right? All the amazing stuff that's coming in, right? Not everybody's problems that are gonna like, oh no, I better help them. No, this is me time, right? So one thing at a time. So what this means is it looks like like, so for example, like, and this is the thing, like yesterday it was so like, it was just amazing actually doing this training, because I was like, wow, how did I forget this? And and I think what I've been through in the past 2 years, and I'm like, wow, how did I forget this? So it was very different for me to experience that yesterday. Like I didn't have my phone in my room. I actually went for a walk. I took my phone for a walk, right? Because I wanted to get photos on my walk. But I made a choice not to log on to anything. It was purely just for the camera. I didn't even take my music to listen to music. I literally just walked without listening to anything, which is a really big deal for me at the moment. And it was really good. And it really just, I don't know, changed something in me, which is really awesome, of course. But then I, like had breakfast, did the animals, and then I started work, but I was conscious, like I was so clear on my walk about do this bit first, do that bit first. Like, it was like, walk, go for a walk. And then I can't even remember what I did first in the morning. My memory was so weird because, I've got a lot of things to do, right? Like this training has been taking up a lot of time, a lot of my spare time, if you may. Just like getting it all organized, and it's not like, oh, it's taking up my time. It's just like, this is where I choose to put my time right now, right? So it was like organizing trust intuition slides. That was a chunk of time. And then I was doing this bit, and then I would do Facebook messages, and then I would do clients, and then I would do, what was I doing yesterday? It's so crazy. I did a whole pile of things. Oh, I like recorded one of the archangels and that sort of thing, right? But I did it all without like checking Facebook and then coming back, and then like, you know what I mean? And energetically, I just felt clear because I was doing one thing at a time. It wasn't like I didn't even think about logging on to stuff. I did, but it was like, I'm releasing an addiction here, if you may. So it's like I was conscious of that. But the energetic difference that I felt at the end of the day, even through the day, was huge. Like just knowing, yeah, cool, I'm going to get to that soon. You know, like I didn't even look to see what client messages there were. Like today was a little bit of a different story. And I was just like, I was so conscious. I was like, don't do that. Like, you know, but I did, whatever. But it's like, I was like, wow, that's right. I remember feeling like this. And that's how I used to be feeling amazing all the time, because I had these really strict energetic boundaries around, you know, only answering Facebook messages. You know, you can do it at the same time every day if you've got a structure like that, you know, but like, so for me, it's like, okay, like this is now that I answer all the Facebook messages, and, you know, later in the afternoon, if I get new Facebook messages, I don't go in there and answer them straight away. They can wait till tomorrow, because I've already done my Facebook messages today. Even if I'm logging on and I'm doing other work, like checking notifications and going through all the notifications, well, that's my notification time. If messages come up, it waits till tomorrow because I've already done messages today, right? You can see how it's a very separate energetic boundary there, rather than a mush of like someone popping up and like speaking to me, and you know what I mean? It's kind of like, no, it waits till tomorrow because I've done that. That's that sphere, the circle, the bubble complete. Yeah, I can see it separate. It's like, cool, now I'm focusing on notifications. Now, it's interesting because when we talked about wholeness just yesterday, actually, in the 12 divine steps for the Reality Awareness support group, and I would finish it in here, it's like looking at wholeness as your presence. And then Archangel Chamuel was who I actually recorded for the Shadow of the Archangels yesterday, and he was talking about the same thing. And I'm like, this is what I've been doing all day. It's like your utmost presence with the thing that you're doing, you know. And what we're going to talk about later in today's training is the hands-on healing, and where your hands are is your presence. And that, you know, what we're going to channel through in hands-on healing today, right, it's very much that, where you have your hands is your presence. Like, you know, it's one of the 12 steps things, actually, like from Al-Anon or something, you know, keeping the hands on, you know. So what am I talking about here? Oh yeah, so the separation of the boundaries. So for example, with emails, it's kind of like, you know, like, okay, I'm gonna check emails now, go through all the emails, do what I need to do in emails, cool, they're done. If more emails come in, well, I won't know because I don't open the app and check it, but I go in tomorrow and I'll get them done tomorrow, right? Now, the reason I'm saying like just once a day, okay, when you start to get busy in your spiritual business, you're going to want to just do it once a day, because you're going to feel drained checking it 50 times a day, or somebody's pulling at your energy, like sending you a zillion messages, you know. And that's when you need to set boundaries around, you need to book in, and we'll talk about that in transitioning from free to paid. But, you know, there's a period of time where you just check messages, where you just check emails, where you just check notifications. It got to a point where I became so busy in my spiritual business that, you know, I could go through and I could check messages, and I could check Facebook notifications, and I could check emails, and I could do it again in the afternoon because there wasn't that many there, right? But then it got so busy, like even today, like my Facebook notifications are the last thing that I get done. And it usually takes a couple of days to a week or so, depending on how busy I am, to get back to them, because there's so many now, right? And so when you get busy, you're going to want to have these strong, strict boundaries about what you're getting done, and, you know, only going in once a day. Now, the reason, again, why I'm saying once a day, you don't want to leave it any longer than once a day. Now, you know, with the Facebook notifications, I had to let that go because I couldn't keep up, right? And that's why I, you know, was hiring staff and like, help me, etc. And this is when you do grow bigger, that's what you do get help with, right? Those sorts of things that you can't keep up with. Now, at the same time, like especially for emails, so that, again, the reason I'm saying for a 24-hour period, especially for emails, right, from a business standpoint, from a business point of view, you'll want to answer emails, and you'll want to do those sorts of things within a 24-hour period, 24 to 48 max, right? For me, I'm like, emails need to be done every day. It's a 24-hour thing, except on weekends, put on the autoresponder, and, you know, we get back to it on Monday morning, right? So it's like having those, you know, boundaries with yourself. Now, you can run your business however you like, okay? We are in a 3D spiritual, 3D reality, you know, business orientated Monday to Friday, 9 to 5 sort of like structure in our world. So if you want to run a successful business, you kind of want to like also, I want to say, adhere to certain business procedures, right? Like let's say you had a $1 million contract on the go, right? And you're emailing back and forth about the details or whatever like that, and you're just in your intuitive flow and you're like, yeah, I do whatever, whenever, and I get back to whatever and whatever, and then like 2 weeks pass and I go, shit, I better check my emails, right? And you go back in and they've pulled out of the contract because, well, you didn't answer within 24 hours. Now you might think that's stupid and wrong and like, well, I'm just doing my thing, right? But at the end of the day, we're looking at business and we're looking at communication and we're looking at reciprocation. Like, yeah, you want to keep up with stuff like that. And if you can't, you hire somebody to do that for you. Okay. So I guess it is really sort of, stressing that home or whatever. And like I said, in the early days, it might not be a thing for you, but once you start getting busier, these are the sorts of things that do get behind, and it's important to keep up with them. Okay, so all right. Okay, and so one thing at a time. Okay, so those things are really important and helpful, that you can do one thing at a time. And then turning your phone on silent and no vibrate or off for chunks of period of time. Now, I forget that I have constantly got my phone on silent. I do not have the vibrate option on either. And I just forget that's just how I have my phone. Like if somebody calls or anything like that, like usually I've got my phone next to me and I'm working or whatever, but I don't have the vibrate. I don't have the sound, like it's on silent all the time. And maybe because I am sitting here and I don't need that sound. Like maybe that's why, right? I did notice, I think, yesterday, like when I don't know, I think I was waiting for a call from someone or something too, actually. Like I left, was purposely leaving my phone in my office the past few days, and I did turn it on, so I could hear it if somebody rings, because I didn't have it next to me, right? So, it's about finding your own flow, but I'm just giving you things that have worked for me as well. But even, if you're going out or doing your thing, like, sure, you can have your phone on, like, I'm not saying that you can't, especially if you have waiting on a child to call you or something like that, right? Like, I get that. But, like maybe you want to experiment, like this is your time, like, like why be interrupted with, certain random phone calls, and especially if you're getting prank calls or whatever, like those bot calls or whatever they are, like it's really interruptive, So when you can't like have these strong boundaries, look within, because your next level, your next layer is more than likely surfacing. So what do we always say, right? When we're going through something and we're working on something and we're, doing all the work and we're going like this, and when we kind of hit this wall, when we hit this block and we're like, there's the subconscious stuff and people want to walk away. The subconscious stuff is surfacing. Your next layer is about to break through. Your next, section is about to break through. Your next level is about to break through. And that's when you need to do the inner work and look within, right? And, like I had release that huge demon entity, the parasitic thing this week, and I'm like, wow, like, did I need to do that earlier? Like, would that stop me feeling like this? And I'm like, oh my God, how did I forget about this stuff, right? And so even when I'm saying all this stuff, like, at the same time, we're human and we also learn things, by walking through them at the same time. So if you do something, it's not that you're bad and, whatever, it's just that you're learning, right? And when we learn, we don't do these things again. Yeah. Okay. So speaking of which, I actually have a fucking email to reply to. I did receive it on the weekend though, so it's only Monday, so it's all right. I'm just going to write the email here, because I've already gone into emails and I fucking forgot to reply to it. So, okay. Speaking about $1 million deals. Okay. So boundaries. So I cannot stress the importance of boundaries as an intuitive healer. So you don't burn out, take on their energy, and continue your powerful healing work that you do, because you're important and you're needed, right? Now, like I said, I'm speaking from experience because I fucking walked through the burnout, and it's interesting, like I said, like when I was putting these together yesterday, I was like, man, this is how I used to be. And then it's like almost after I originally filmed this, like if I look at timelines, I'm like, wow, I'm pretty sure it was after that I just went into big mush. And I'm like, Jesus. So I've been both sides, and I'm like, you don't have to walk through the pain. Trust me, that's why you're taking this course. You're learning all the shit that you don't have to do. Okay, so remember, when self-care is low, that is when it all falls apart and you take on their energy easily, right? So if you're lacking in sleep, lacking in fun, lacking in joy, that's when you want to walk away. If you're working too much or you're taking too much on, trust me, I'm like the queen of that. But I've also learned how to change schedules. I've also learned that I'm not doing that anymore. Whereas the old Hannah would just push through and do it even though like it didn't feel right anymore. And so, you know, like we can, you know, go, yeah, we can get all these ideas and do all these things, right? But if something doesn't feel right anymore, like give yourself permission to just go, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I don't want to, it's not alive. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's okay not to finish things. You know, I think people like us with all our amazing ideas, like we feel bad if we haven't finished something. You know, there's certain things that we know we do have to finish, right? But if something is just not alive and you're like, oh, I don't need to do that anymore, well, can you give yourself permission to just not fucking do that, right? So with students, boundaries with student-client relationships, okay? So you know, this is trusting your intuition, okay? Having a boundary with a client, you know, it's really understanding, like, you know, what is the level of friendship, what is the boundary there, are they a student, are they a client, are they a friend, okay? Because sometimes these boundaries can get a little bit skew with, and sometimes it can be tricky to separate. Sometimes you know, it just depends, right? There's no right or wrong with this. It's you deciding what you have in your life. It's you deciding, you know, where the friendship boundaries are, where the client boundaries are, where the relationship boundaries are. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's really important that you trust your intuition with what those boundaries look like for you. So to trust your intuition, it's both yes and no, and it's whatever is right for you. Is it an intimate relationship or a friendship or a teacher? Having a reality check about these as well, and then also taking people off pedestals. So I know that there's, you know, like it's very easy for a student or a client to have you up on a pedestal. And, you know, and this is why I guess I like being real, because I'm like, man, I'm just like you guys, you know, like take me off the fucking pedestal, right? But there's still some people that do it. And I've done it to mentors as well. Like, I think we naturally sort of do that, right? Because they have something that we want, they have something that is innately inside of us, and they're reflecting that back, right? And we think they're amazing, and they are, and we know that they can help us, and, you know, and we do sort of have them up on a pedestal, right? Taking them down off the pedestal is somewhat harder and easier said than done. But it's important to see where you have, you know, that line within yourself, and then also, you know, as you step into having students and clients, like, where is the, you know, the boundary there? Was the friendship, or is it just student client relationship, right? Student client, mentor teacher. And so, like I said here, like, there's no right or wrong, like, and you might, you know, like, you know, for example, for me, okay, so let me give you some examples, because this is important and what I'm trying to explain here. So, for example, it's really important to be clear about what you're offering. Okay, so obviously the difference between a friendship is that it's balanced. It's both given, you know, give and take, right? Where I'm talking about of, like, you decide where the boundaries are. So, for example, for me, you know, if somebody, you know, like, just wants to catch up and hang out, and they're just like, you know, and this is no offense, guys, but this is a, you know, I've had to be clear about this, right? And this stems from as well, like, from, I think I learned this more in my yoga teacher days, right? So when I was teaching classes and workshops before I came online, so maybe that's why I've got a stronger stance on this or something, whatever. So, like, I'd teach a yoga class, and then, like, people would just want to hang out, but it felt a little bit unbalanced for me when I used to do this. And I think that's why I've got strong boundaries around it, right? Because I am like that mentor, teacher, you know, whatever. When we go out, it's still that role, if you may. And I found that really draining. So, like, I'd teach a class and then we'd go out for lunch or whatever. And I was flattened for the rest of the day because I was still in that role. And maybe that was me. Maybe that was on me, not coming out of the teacher role. But at the same time, there's people that, you know, say, for example, in the group, I could feel that it was still like I was their teacher. And then there was other people where I could feel like it was more friends. Like, and so you know, like maybe it was all me, maybe it wasn't, because I could definitely feel that with different people, right? It was like they would still ask me, you know, not psychic questions, like mentoring questions. Do you know what I mean? Like, whereas other people were more friends. Like I could feel the difference, let's say, okay? And after many times of this and being drained, like, you know, and this was, I mean, I'm talking before coming online, I started to realize, I'm like, I can't just hang out with all my students. Like, you know, it became really apparent to me. And I don't know if I've even got any friends from the yoga classes. I don't think I do. No, I don't. And it's interesting because the only two friends that I've got are actually where I trained to be teachers, like at the yoga teacher training when I was training. That's where my friends are from. So, you know, and like I said, like this might not happen for you, okay, but I am sharing from experience that it does happen because, you know, people come to your classes or do whatever and then they still want to hang out. And like, I get it, like we're soulmate tribe, right? Like I totally get it. But at the same time, you just have to be mindful of your energy and, you know, the boundary line there. Like, and you might be really clear. You might be like, cool, when I'm teaching, I'm teaching. When we're out and we're socializing, I'm not answering questions. I'm your friend. Like, do you know what I mean? I'm not, like, you might be really clear in that in yourself, right? But for me, I had to really like separate myself. It was like, no, I couldn't. And then I just had to find my own friends that were not my students, because I don't know, that I just didn't, right? And, you know, and that was many years ago now. It would have been over 5 years ago. So, you know, 5 to 8 years ago, definitely, even longer. Wow, been doing it for a long time. Time's like, okay. So, and this is the reason that I'm saying this, okay? And this is like the pedestal stuff as well. And, you know, and I even found this in groups that I even wasn't teaching them. So for example, like the surfing mums group that I used to go to, and I used to go to that because it advanced my surfing and I learned so much, and I had somebody look after Adea when she was younger and I could go surfing and then we'd swap, right? But I found that I ended up being the coach and the healer to all the mums. Like the mums would just start talking to me about all their relationship problems with their husband. And I would like tell them all the domestic violence stuff, because I'm like, what you're telling me is domestic violence. It's emotional abuse. Like, do you know what I mean? And I stopped going to those groups because, number one, they didn't like what I was saying, right? And I didn't understand this for a long time afterwards, you know, about like, you know, like I was always that role in any group that I joined, right? Until I started finding friends that were also like training to be a yoga teacher. Like that's when I found the even balance there, right? So it is a fine line. It is something that you might have to walk through. It is something that, you know, only you will know with yourself what's right and what's not. You know, like there's some people, and I'll talk about this in transitioning from free to paid, like there's some people that just want to catch up and hang out. And I just set a boundary. I'm like, well, if you'd like in person, you know, I was like, yeah, if I, you know, to have an in-person session, sure, I do that. These are my, you know, fees. This is what we can do. But otherwise I just don't, because the other piece about this, okay, and this is so fucking huge. Okay. Now I shared this a little while ago in Trust Intuition, maybe about a year or two ago, because it was so fucking blatantly obvious to me. You know what I mean? And I've even walked through this. And this is again before I came online. So even with friends, like not even talking about student relationships here, this is literally like, you know, just your circle of friends from when you're coming from a quote unquote normal life and you're starting to step into this spiritual work, okay, and you're starting to run a business now and you're starting to change your life and get out of the fucking situations that you're in, and you're starting to change your life, right? And when I shared this in Trust Intuition, some people got really fucking triggered, like, well, one in particular, I'm sure there was more, like, because it's a big deal, right? Because it was so blatantly obvious to me. And I think, like I said, because I've walked through it. So the other thing about what we've been talking about with, I'm just going to share this again. So the other thing, when we've been talking about, not answering calls, text messages, etc. before 8 a.m., 5 p.m., doing one thing at a time and having chunks of time, right? Like when we start looking at that, say you start to get busy in your business, right? And then you've all of a sudden got all these emails, and then all of a sudden you've got all these Facebook notifications, and they're like emails, and they're, you know, and then you've got Facebook messages, which also like emails are very important. You know, because especially if you're writing your business to a social media platform, this is where we build the relationships. I'm going to talk about that coming up. When you get really busy like this stuff takes time. It takes time for me to sit there and answer Facebook messages, let alone clients, right? Facebook notifications, etc. Like it's a good hour, hour and a half, 2 hours. For me to write Tuesday Tarot every week, it's a good 2 to 4 hours, depending, right? That's just writing it. I now have beautiful Tamara who answers the comments every Tuesday because that takes another 4 hours, right? And so when I was doing all of that on my own, like, so there's the whole of Tuesday gone, let's say, right? Scheduling it, writing it, and then answering all the comments on all the platforms and emails. Okay, that's a whole Tuesday gone, right? And then we look at all the emails starting to come in, and then I started to get clients. Like you can see how the time in the weeks like fill up, right? This is where it comes into being really dedicated around turning your phone off, having these strict boundaries, because you will burn out. Trust me. I've been there, right? And again, the thing that I'm stressing here is just even normal friends, okay? And this, like I said, this is stepping into transitioning from free to paid. That normal friends and family, because I used to experience this as well. So years ago, and it was only when I started doing this as a business and started transitioning from free to paid and learning all this and stuff, I became so overwhelmed because I didn't have time to do it all. Now, what was taking up my time during the day was talking to friends on the phone. We'd just talk, whether it was a text message all day or whether it was just like we talk for a couple of hours on the phone and then a whole day's gone and then we've got to pick up kids from school or whatever the story is. Like the days just go, right? The hardest thing for me was to start setting boundaries with my friends. The hardest thing for me was to stop like having communication every single day with my friends via text message or family or calling them and speaking for hours or whatever. Now, hey, maybe you guys don't do that, right? Maybe you guys don't do that, but it was a really big deal. And as I started to stop that and started to set these boundaries around my work and started to really, you know, like have clients or check emails and started to do this thing, do you know what I started to realize? Do you know what the biggest thing for me in starting to the biggest thing, the hugest fucking thing, and I can't stress this enough, is that my psychic awareness and my intuitive abilities started to increase. Why? Because I wasn't enmeshed with everyone all the time. I wasn't, you know, like I started to have really clear boundaries around my work, but it started to improve my psychic abilities and my intuition because I just wasn't enmeshed in people. And it wasn't even work related. It was friends and family and surfing mums groups or whatever, right? It was really distinctive. And so if there's a fast way and a fast track to strengthening your intuition, having clear intuition and understanding your energy, is to really notice where you're spending your time on a daily basis. How much time are you spending on your phone? How much time are you spending on Facebook? How much time are you spending watching videos? How much time are you speaking to friends and family? Do you have a constant communication with somebody or not? Like if you start tracking it, like we track our menstrual cycles, if you start tracking it, it's going to become very apparent about why your energy is meshed here and here and here and here, right? How many times do you speak to a certain person in a day or whatever, right? Whether it's friend, family, or intimate partner, it's a big difference when we really start to be conscious of if they're spheres or if they're just one big mesh ball. Yeah. Like I said, this might not be a thing for you, but fuck, it was a huge deal for me. It was massive, right? And so really sharing this is so important. Okay. Oh, I better check Facebook comments. Sorry, guys. Okay, cool. We can keep going. week 14. Okay. Oh, did that just share? All right. I think it's sharing the right thing. It didn't come up on my screen. Okay, it's showing. All right. So, all right, we went over that. So does anyone have any questions about that? Or does anyone feel uncomfortable with what I've just said? Boundaries. I was going to jump into transitioning from free to paid, but we're in the sacred keys for being a powerful healer. So I'm just going to keep going from here. But I know it can be confronting with what I just spoke about. So let me know. All right. So I'll keep going for this moment. So the second sacred key for being a powerful healer is that your clients are a reflection of you. Yeah. Now we know that the world is a reflection of us. We know that everybody we get triggered by and not even get triggered by is a reflection of our subconscious, is our is a shadow. And we know that we can heal any trigger, etc., by doing shadow work and doing the work and maybe doing a wound clearing process if we need to go deeper with it, or past life or whatever. You've got the tools, right? So we know that your client, we know that shadow work is a thing, and we also know that your clients are a reflection of you. Yeah. So just checking these comments here. Desta said that's actually quite empowering. Yeah, it is, right? And I feel excited that you guys are listening to me, because this took me years to fucking understand. Like, no joke. Like when I was in the enmesh state, just even with friends and family and taking up all my time with, you know, phone calls, and like I didn't realize until I started doing this work, right? Until I started building it as a proper business online, so to speak. You know, and like if I think about when that was, it was when a day was like 2, 3, 4, 5 years of age. She's nearly 13 now. And, you know, so it was around 7, 8 years for her. She was 7, 8 when I started setting these really strong boundaries and things started really changing, and I was building my business online. So, you know, like there's many years of being in the mush to then doing that. So for you guys to have that, I'm like, yes. It's honestly, yeah, it is, you know, and honestly, it's so like the differentiation in understanding intuition when you start to set these really strong boundaries about your time and where you're spending your time on a daily basis is freaking huge, right? You know, I think it's quote unquote okay for, let's just give an example here, right? It's kind of interesting what's coming to mind. So, you know, what's coming to mind is sort of examples from those mums groups and stuff that I used to be in. It's kind of like the mums are in the mush all day with friends and kids and play groups and all sorts of things, which is what we're supposed to do, right? It's a mum, whatever, supposed to do. And then the men are like at work, for example, or other way around, and they're like in their structure and in their zone and in their like boundaries because they've got to get work done or whatever, right? So you can see how it's like kind of like this mush and then this really structured sort of like thing, and no wonder there's issues, or I don't know, it's kind of interesting, right? I mean, there's issues in any relationship, but you get what I'm saying? I'm like, wow, that's kind of an interesting realization. Yeah, unless we've got these really strong boundaries, because, you know, and especially when we've had a child, we're in a mush, you know, and our child or children are in our aura until they're 3 years of age. So gosh, there's so many layers there. All right, let's keep going. So your clients are a reflection of you. As we know with shadow work and the world, right? You attract clients that reflect what you are dealing with or going through yourself, right? Or you attract clients who are going through what you have just healed in yourself as well, right? So if you get 3 clients with the same issue or thread, it's a reflection of you to heal you, help shift and heal your clients. So, you know, if you get 3 clients, I mean, that's just like a magic number, 3 days, 3 weeks, 3 months, 3 years. I mean, you could get 1 client that really triggers in you and you're like, man, I'm still working on this myself, right? And that's when we might need to refer them to another practitioner, or maybe we can get more support from our mentor and like work on it and stuff, because we know that when we heal, it helps our clients heal. When we deal with the issues, our clients shift. You know, if we've got something coming up that's the same thread, and or if we've just worked through something, we might notice that our clients start going through it and we're like, well, I just worked on this actually, you know, and we do recognize that reflection as well. And it says also collective threads that you can heal to. If you do regular clients, you will hone your skills. Stepping up and doing it is the fastest way to learn, especially for an empath. So same thing, right? You know, as I always say, like, you'll never be fully ready to have clients. Like, just start, just start doing whatever's easiest for you, whether it's psychic readings or whatever you find easiest for you, right? Just start doing what's important to you and what you're passionate about. Remember, we've spoken about this. But you know that when you get a client that is going through something that you've just worked through, like, you know, the universe will usually send you people, you know, remember we said this before as well, the universe will only send people that you can deal with, in a sense that, you know, like the universe won't give you something that you can't handle. Right now, you might need more support, etc. But you're always going to get that, you know, that you've just worked through it yourself, or that you've done it in the past, and or that you're currently going through and just having breakthroughs for, etc. as well, right? So when you recognize that you're like, you know, like your client, you just had 3 clients in a row, for example, and you're like, wow, just dealing with the same thing. It can be a collective thread. Okay, so sometimes you might have seen me do distance healings or do have client calls or whatever, and then I'll do a live stream and I'm like, wow, I was actually speaking with several clients about this today, and I feel called to share this message as well publicly, because usually it can be a collective theme as well, like a collective energy that's going on, and or like you might just feel called to talk about it because it is something that you're helping with your clients and it's something that you're really good at with helping with your clients. That also, if you get up on live stream and talk about that, that teaches people what you do, and it teaches people how you work, and it teaches people that, oh, you do have clients, cool, let me book in. Okay, so yeah, it's like collective threads. But also when you get, say, 3 clients in a row, or I mean, pick any number, it could be 4 clients, could be 2, could be 1, right? And you know, you're like, I need to work on this myself, right? When you do work on it, you're going to shift your clients by working on it too. Now, 2 things will happen. Should I explain this on the next slide? Okay, 2 things will happen. Okay, that client, like if you're like, I need to work on this too, you do the work and then you shift. 2 things will happen with that client. That client will shift with you and they'll have big shifts as well, and you haven't even communicated it to them, right? And they'll shift and you'll be like, I just worked on this, and you might share your story, you might not. Some people don't share their story, whatever, it's just up to you. Or that client will go, I'm not aligned with you anymore, I need to leave, and or you don't work with them anymore, and or they don't come back, and or something, they just fall out of resonance. And so that sort of aspect is like, you know, when you have clients that reflect stuff back to you, which I believe everyone is, and you work on it, like it's like you're working on yourself by working with a client when you do the work, because like I said, they'll either shift with you and then you know they're your true soulmate clients, or they will drop out and you're like, wow, I just really needed to hear that in myself. Or, you know, like sometimes you don't even, you know, think like that, or it's not even a thing, right? But it's very interesting when we are conscious of this, right? And we understand that the most powerful thing that we can do as a healer is look at our clients as a reflection of ourselves. And like I said, we'll either have just worked through something, or something's like, we're like, yep, I know that that's something I need to work on. I haven't looked at that yet. And when we do the work, like I said, they'll either rise with you or they'll shift out of your field, right? And then you start attracting different sorts of clients because you've healed those things within you. Yeah. And so you attract a sort of different client that, you know, it is, you know, might be easier to work with, or might be like just, I don't know, wanting to learn about psychic development rather than heal deep trauma because you've just done that yourself and you're not quote unquote carrying that or need to heal that level of it in yourself anymore, you know. So you start to attract different clients as well when we shift stuff in us. Yeah. So let's jump back in. So when we look at the sacred keys, it's literally like when we can remember that and do the work, we're shifting, collective is shifting, they're shifting in and out of your field, you attract different people. So I think that this is what I was saying here. So Ongoing interpersonal development, healing work and mentoring for yourself is imperative and allows you to thrive in your own evolution of consciousness, as well as being one of the top intuitive healers on the planet, because you're looking at your own stuff. So this is what I was just talking about, right? So you become one of the top intuitive healers on the planet because you're looking at your own stuff. We all know that the most powerful people on the planet are the ones who do their own inner work. Yeah. Your clients are your gift and your guide. They are your reflections. So again, when we look at our clients like ourselves, and it's not like every single client that you're going to have is like, you know, all your issues, like, you know, don't go down that sort of rabbit hole. It's kind of like, but you'll feel it and you'll know, you'll be like, yep, that's you know, same sort of thing for me. And you'll notice that the faster you pick that up, when you do feel that sort of interconnection and you do your own work, you'll be surprised how fast they will shift. You will shift, like the whole thing shifts. Like it's actually really phenomenal, right? So remember, everyone is a reflection. Spirit is guiding you, and you don't receive a client that you aren't ready to face yourself. However, that may mean referring them so that you can deal with what it has brought up within yourself to heal, which again is what we talked about. Yeah. So remember, everyone is a reflection. Spirit is guiding you, and you don't receive a client that you aren't ready to face. However, that may mean referring them so you can deal with what it has brought up within yourself. Yes, I said it twice. It's so important. Yeah, it's so important to remember. Okay, Spirit will always send you people that you can handle, right? And if you can't, it's just because it's bringing up stuff within you to look at. That's all. Doesn't mean that you need to keep working with them even after you've healed your stuff. Like you don't have to keep working with them. No. But if it brings up stuff within you and you do heal and you're like, oh, I can work with that person now, like that's no issues, right? But you may need to refer them, and you're just like, no, I don't need to do that. It's a bit like staying in a workplace where you've got an abusive boss, right? And you're like, oh, it's just me and I can do the inner work and then the situation will change, but your boss is still abusive. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to stay in that environment even when you do the work, right? So let's keep going. The sacred key number 3, you guys know I always harp on about this. Your presence is your power. Your presence is your power. Remember, you are a powerful healer by your presence. Just by your presence. Your energy is strong and can shift someone by your listening presence alone. Sometimes listening and a reading is enough to shift them. Remember, we talked about this last training and going through just, you know, like that, what you can do with somebody in a session. And sometimes just a card reading and listening is enough. Yeah, remember? And then trust the intuition on which tools you do use, right? And I know we did touch on this quite a lot in last training, because it's going through the different sessions and what you can do with a person. Yeah. So it's so important to remember that your presence alone can shift them, you know. And I know for me in the start, right, not a lot, but sometimes I was like, you know, listening to a person, like, okay, cool. And I'll be like, okay, we can do a wound clearing process, and we do it like in my head, right? And I'm like, okay, we can do all this stuff, right? And I'll start doing it, and I'll be like, you know, and it's kind of like, okay, sure, I've got all that information I can use, but you can see in a person, it's like, that's enough that they need in that moment, right? So sometimes we forget that our presence is, you know, that powerful as well. Yeah. Okay, and so number 3.1, in a sense of like what we're going to talk about in the next little section on the sacred key, but to always remember that you pick up the subconscious stuff. Yeah, you always pick up the subconscious stuff. There is 2 subconscious videos that I'm going to put in this. So I've got 2 times. Oh, I'm going through the slides anyway, of course. Videos to watch to understand how much we pick up the subconscious stuff. Now, depending on so I'll just put sacred key number 3. Some of you might have seen the videos, because one of them is quite old and another one I just did recently in the psychic development class. But it's a helpful reminder, because I think that we forget how much we pick up as an empath, how much we pick up of that person's subconscious stuff. Hence why just listening, can heal so much, because we're conscious of everything that's going on for them and we don't have to say a word, right? So those things just help you to understand the level of what you pick up. And sometimes saying something sort of goes over their head because they're not even conscious of it, right? And that's different to having someone who gets triggered, but in a healing session, you know, sometimes it doesn't even register because it's just so deep in their subconscious, right? But you're so clear about what's going on, and because you're conscious of it and they're just talking about, say, the surface stuff, because you're conscious of what the deeper issue is and you don't even have to mention it, because you're conscious of it, it heals it in a sense. You're right, just our presence heals it, you know. And this is where it's like we are the light in the darkness. Like we can hold a lot of darkness because we've traveled it, and because we can see the darkness, it shifts. That's, you know, like the only thing that needs to transform darkness is the light of our consciousness, is the consciousness, right? Whether that person's conscious of it or not, right? And like, you know, sometimes doesn't mean that it's fully healed them, but at the same time, it's a definite load off their, you know, mind, a load off their energy field that they wouldn't have been able to shift with anyone, because we hold that gift of being able to hold that level of darkness, depth of trauma, and all those pieces. Yeah. So I can't stress this enough. Yeah. Your presence is your power. Yeah. So sacred key number 4. Money, money. Who is uncomfortable about money and who loves money? Now, I know some of you are in Transcendence Reality Society, and right now at this point in time, we're working in ear chakra consciousness. But to be honest, it's a really big deal for spiritual people to not accept money to do this work. So when we are looking at boundaries, right? And we're talking about time, and our time and the bubbles and the spheres of coming into Facebook messages, of doing emails, of doing clients, of doing, you know, whatever it is, having bubbles of time also relates to money, 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 money. Money, honey, is so important that we work on our fucking money stuff, or we're going to burn out and not want to do it anymore. Trust me, been there, done that. It's not fun, right? So I was just going to say something else, but I'm going to keep going because I forgot. It dropped in and I didn't say it. So money, honey, so important. Our earth needs healers with this consciousness, with lots of money in their hands. Now, right now, the fucking whole system is collapsing because it's 2021, right? However, money is still a thing, right? There is a currency. There is a way we pay our bills and the way we buy food. And sure, that might change in the next couple of years, but right now, it's definitely a thing. And whether it's, you know, coins and notes, or whether it's some other sort of currency, at the same time, you need to be comfortable with receiving money for your gifts, because it is a boundary. It's an energetic boundary. Okay. And this, I think this is what I was saying. This goes into a little bit about what I was saying before around, you know, like when I'd have like lunch and go out with all the yoga students and stuff. And like, there was a lot of people at that class. Not everyone came to lunch, of course, but I was teaching to a good, like 30 to 50 people each Monday. Like it was a big room. I actually fucking loved that class. But anyway, you know, and going into the money, it's kind of like, this is where you get confident in saying like, hey, like, it sounds like a lot's going on. Like if I even look at the surfing mum stuff, like, you know, I was just talking like and giving quote unquote free advice, but it's just because I knew a lot about it. And this was before I really stepped into doing this stuff online, right? I just had a lot of experience. I taught a lot of yoga classes. I've done a lot of stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? And so I would just talk normally, but I was talking about this stuff, right? Which is very confronting for people who don't want to leave a relationship like that. And so, you know, like as I went along and started to learn this stuff, it's starting to implement the boundaries. And again, this is moving into transitioning from free to paid, which we're going to go into. And it's having the confidence to just say, hey, it sounds like you've got a lot of stuff going on. Because some people, like, they'll just dump on you, right? They don't even realize it. And we just accept it because, like, you know, people at the end of it, they'll say, I've never actually shared this with anyone, or I've never actually shared this much with anyone, or I actually don't tell people this stuff. You're the only person I've told, and like 2 hours have gone past and you've just heard their entire life story and all the trauma and all the shit, and you're just like, right? And in the back of your mind, you're like, I've got shit to do, but you sit there and you keep listening, right? And so the confidence comes in saying, like, interrupting people as well, especially if they're not in a paid session with you, and saying, right, and this is obviously an in-person thing or even on a phone call, and saying, it sounds like you've got a lot of stuff going on. Are you talking to anybody about this? Right? I'm going to put this on a slide because it feels important. Sin money, honey. We're just gonna put it here as soon as we started talking about it here. I think I did this for last week or something as well, right? So I need to go through. Okay, so sounds like you have a lot of stuff going on. So number one, in the past, I would sit there and I would go, I would literally like start giving advice, or I'd start saying stuff straight away, right? These days, when somebody starts opening up to me, I don't give any advice. I don't share all the knowledge that I know. I just don't. Why? Because you're going to start stepping into a healing session. One of my energetic boundaries is when people start sharing stuff with me and I can feel it's going into a session. A way for me to, quote unquote, protect my energy, right, is to really catch that and not answer, not give advice, not give them anything. And it's not like in a mean way. It's a protective energy for boundaries for myself way. Okay. So I'll say, it sounds like you've got a lot of stuff going on. And usually they'll be like, keep going, right? And you've got to get confident and you've got to get strong in cutting people off that continue to go on, because they will keep going on, especially if they've never spoken to somebody about this before. Right? You are a safe space that they will open up to you, and it's hard to set boundaries. So I'll say, it sounds like you've got a lot of stuff going on. They might keep talking. And I say, like, do you have a support person that you speak to about this stuff, or whatever, you can name it. They might say yes or no. So if they say yes, you could then ask them, when is your next session with them? If they say no, you could say, it sounds like you would really benefit from this sort of support. This is what I do for my career. You could say, I am an intuitive healer. I mean, like, they might already know that. Would you like to book in for a session where I can help you further with this? Depending on the person, they might just say no, right? But then you can say, and then they might keep talking about it. And you can say, like, hey, I would really love to help you, but I need to honor my boundaries around this, or I wouldn't be able to continue to help people at the capacity that I do. And then I usually say, here's the link. So now we're stepping on to also doing it in online. So here is the link to book in. You can share that, or if you don't have a link yet, you can say, you could just say it again. If you would like to help, just repeat, I'll just say, just repeat what you said about, if you'd like to book in, I can help you further. And then I say at the end, I trust you understand. Now, I say, trust you understand. Some people will start cracking the shits. I know we've spoken about this before, but it does happen, right? Some people will start getting upset and irritated about that. Some people you'll just never hear from again. Some people will say, you shouldn't be charging for this spiritual stuff and blah, 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 blah. And then they'll go and find somebody else to drain on. Like, it's a thing, right? Like, be prepared for shit, because they'll come out of the woodworks. When you're first starting to set boundaries, and then you become strong in it, and then it doesn't really happen anymore. I still get it from time to time. How can you be charging for this stuff? Like, how can you sleep at night when you're charging for this stuff? And I sort of just brush it off these days. It is also usually comes at a time when I'm up leveling in charging for more, like charging more for my time, etc. as well. So I do, but if we recognize it's just a reflection, of our own fears, then we can do that work on that as well. Okay, so and when you're in person with someone, it's kind of harder. It can be harder to say these sorts of things, and I'll just be conscious of the time. Like if somebody's just not listening to me and keep going, I'll just like look at the time and I'll say to myself, okay, another 2 minutes, 5 minutes, or 15 minutes. Like, you'll know in yourself what your time limit is. And like, for someone recently, like, because in the start they were like, I didn't listen to my gut feeling, and like they were really conscious of it. And then at the end of the session, it had finished. I think I might have shared this. And then I'd said, like I was like, and I fully just cut him off. I was like, hey, and I said his name. And I was like, remember, I said, I've got to go. I said, remember how you were talking about that gut feeling? I said, I've got that gut feeling. I have to go. Right. And he's like, okay, go. So it's like, sometimes you just need to be strong and cut people off, because otherwise they won't. They will just keep going. Okay. So it's so important, because it's kind of like, how can you help anybody if you can't help yourself? Right? How can we give more if we're not even giving to ourselves? How can we give more if we're burning out and draining? And like, how are we going to save the world? Like, we can't. Working on your money shit is so important as a healer. This is the difference between a successful person and a non-successful person. And by a successful, in this particular instance, I mean somebody who is staying stuck in their cycles and won't get out of their current situation ever, and then they'll burn out and they just won't do it anymore or whatever, and maybe they're happy just not doing it anymore. That's fine. That's a personal choice, whatever. But then the people, when I say successful, meaning actually do it for a business and actually changing the world and are actually starting to do what they want to do in life, rather than be stuck in straight out of school and in that system, and being in that system for life, right? So this is where we create freedom, and we actually are able to actually contribute to the new earth that everybody's praying for, living for, knowing and waking up for, and knowing that there's a better way, right? That's the difference. You need to work on your money shit. You need to get comfortable in charging for your services. It's a thing, right? Mindset. There are so many different ways that we can work on money stuff. And I'm going to go over a few in a bit later in this training as well. So mindset. When I started working with my mentor a few years ago, she was self-made millionaire, etc., multi-millionaire, etc. And I obviously, like, I've been online at the time of this filming for just over 5 years now. And I'd been working online maybe almost 2 years before I signed up to work with her. It was a huge investment. She was charging $30,000 US at the time. I did not have $30,000 US at the time. I think the payment plan was like $2,500 US per month. At the time, I did not have $2,500 US per month. I'm in Australia, so it's even more. It's like $3,500 or something, right? I did not have that in my bank account every month spare to pay a mentor to learn about money mindset, to learn about all those things. I did not have those funds. I did not have those funds, but I could pay the first payment. And that was a 12-month payment plan or something like that. I think it was 12 months. And I took the leap of faith, and I didn't tell a soul. And I was so shit scared about it. But I signed up, and I'm like, I need to learn about money. What am I missing? I'd been doing healing work for, at that time, since 2005. Since I was 21. And so I started working with her when I was 30? No, way after 30. Oh my goodness, would have been 34 or something like that, right? And then I worked with her for 3 years. I ended up staying for 3 years. So more than 30 grand, ended up being 50 grand US by the time I walked away. So, which I'm still paying off today, right? And it's not about the money, but I was willing to do whatever it takes to do whatever it takes. If you don't work on your money stuff, you will never get out of the system. If you don't work on your money mindset, you'll never get out of the system. Now, I've achieved a lot in those 3 years. I've taken myself off government support. I've got myself a car, got myself a better house, all of those things. I'm not satisfied. I want more. I'm not done yet, right? People like us, we're usually not. It's not that we're not grateful for what we have, but we're constantly growing and evolving. I've got big goals. I've started to take care of myself. I'm starting to even take better care of myself, right? Because I got out of that cycle. Now I can start to take care of myself. And then the next stage is being able to support the world with my big vision goals, right? Of course, I'm already doing that, training you guys, for example, right? But there's other bigger visions that I still haven't fulfilled yet that want to change the world, right? In this day in society, we need money. If we're not comfortable with large sums of money, if we're not looking at the blocks that we have about even receiving those sorts of money, right? And in the EHR consciousness, we really looked in, expanding through those to see the blocks, right? If we're not consciously working on our money mindset and clearing generational blocks and clearing society blocks that we've been ingrained as a pattern in us, because we've been in the school system, we've been like, it's just how we've been raised as a society, right? Or everybody would be millionaires, right? Like, it's not a normal path to walk. Okay, but if you want to get off the system, if you want to change your life in some way, shape, or form, if you want to be an intuitive healer or whatever you call yourself, and live a free life that is doing what you want when you want and healing the world and doing whatever that calls you with your life purpose, like, you're going to have to work on your money mindset. Now, some people get really confronted by it. Okay, and let's have a look why. So these are a couple of things that we can do that I share with you guys. Mindset. Of course, it is a very big mindset piece for me. I've done a lot of healing work. The mindset was what I was missing. I'll talk about that more in a moment. The 21-day money shifter is something that I've run in Trust Intuition before. Tamara brought it up just the other week, so we may do that again coming up soon. So it's basically a 21-day money shifter that we do together as a group in there. The past life poverty vows. So it's so important to release these from, you're not a nun or a monk anymore. Like, sometimes we've had past lives as a monk or a nun where we don't necessarily live in poverty, but we don't have anything. And it's like that spiritual connection of like, shouldn't charge me services, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So you need to release that stuff. You can do the past life meditation with the intention to release the poverty vows. You might need to do that 2 or 3 times, trust intuition on that. So definitely work on that. There's the Power My Life training. There's the mindset reset, which I'm going to go into coming up soon in these bonuses. There's also creating your own tools, right? And remember that Trusted Intuition is affiliate where you can earn dollars from it as well. So there's lots of ways for money to come in and receive money. So yeah, there's all different ways, but it's mindset. So the sacred key number 4.1. So there is an extra video, which is the specific money affirmations from the Life Purpose Mentorship that I did originally. Transcendence Reality Society is the current Life Purpose Mentorship, if you may. So the Life Purpose Mentorship is what I used to do originally, and then it transformed into Transcendence Reality Society. So the money affirmations, it's just a short 10-minute video. Some of you guys might have seen it before. When I set up all the replays and I go through the explanation video, you'll see it in there. It's really powerful just to help understand when we're writing affirmations, especially about money, why we're writing certain things. So that's just one little thing that you could start doing to work on your money mindset. So one thing with that is that when I first started out online and doing this stuff, I wasn't overly busy with clients. You probably heard me talk about this before. When I started learning about this mindset stuff, because I wasn't as busy as I am today, I was busy, and a lot of hours in my day was going into writing affirmations, writing my reality into existence, writing that 3K weeks are normal for me. And that's just a couple of years ago. And now they're normal for me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I've written my reality into existence. I write them over and over and over and over again. I write them over and over and over and over again. And then if stuff comes up, because it always does, we do the inner work with our healing tools, and then we keep going. Right? Because when we're changing our brain, we're changing our energy, and then there's traumas in our energy that are keeping us here at this vibration. When we're writing, enough writing is like making this come up like a volcano, right? We do our healing tools, we remove that, and then we keep writing to fill this with that new vibration. Okay, in short, hence why if you want to be a powerful healer and actually do what you want to do and change the world and do what you say you're going to do, you need to work on your money stuff. And this is where we start. Okay, you go into so much depth with it, but it's so important that you at least start. It's also how you attract clients into your business, etc. And we're going to go through that soon. So I'll just check these comments as well. All right, you guys are all good. Oh, there's people here on Facebook. Hi, Chris, Kirsty. Needed to hear this one today. Boundaries. Boundaries are so big. I even had a dream about them. You guys are like right on point with these trainings, right? Oh, love it. Honestly, it's the differentiation between being a successful healer. And when I mean success, like nobody can really define success. Success is a definition that only you can define what that means to you. But when I'm talking about it here, is the difference between having your own business as an intuitive healer, right? Call yourself whatever you want to call yourself, or you call yourself an intuitive healer, having your own successful healing business where you are doing that full time and doing what you love. Or you're still, on the system. And by the way, there's nothing wrong with being on the system. I'm not judging that. I wouldn't be where I am today without the system. I loved the system for so long. People would bag on it and I'm like, wow, it's actually really supporting me. So I don't know why you guys are bagging it out. But anyway, like I would always think like that. So please know when I say it, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, yeah. I don't think we want to be on the system forever, right? So, okay. So the sacred key number 5 is the 12 principles. Now I know we've gone over them and we've gone over them and we've gone over them so much in this training. But again, I can't stress them enough. That by living your life, by living your intuition, by living your business, by living whatever, with these in mind, will keep you on track, right? Because number 1 is honesty, right? If we're not honest and we're having little white lies or we're telling white lies, it literally puts a brick on our face. It puts a cloud on our intuition. And, the lies add up, the little white lies add up. I can't handle little white lies. I'm like, what's the fucking point, right? Don't get me started. But it's kind of like, honesty is like so important to me because as a healer, as an empath, as an intuitive, like we're so fucking sensitive. And when somebody's lying to our face and we love them and we believe them, that's when it just gets into this confused fucking mess, right? And so number 1, and I know we've gone over this so many times, but this is your sacred key number 5, being a powerful healer, is the 12 divine steps. Yeah. All right. So next, where to start as a healer. So creating your own meditations. Now, I know we spoke about this last training as well when we're going through what do you do in a session. So yes, you have access to all the Trust Your Intuition audios, and then all the written, you have all the audios in a written version as well. And I know we spoke about this last training so that you can sit there and read them out to your client. Okay. Now, as we also spoke about last training, that it'll get to a point, and sometimes it doesn't, and there's no right or wrong, but sometimes you get to a point where you're reading a meditation doesn't feel right, or you're doing a meditation, or you're taking a client through a meditation, and you start getting intuitively all this other stuff to do in a meditation that takes you on a whole different pathway to the meditation you're trying to read, right? It's so important to trust your intuition with what's coming through. You may like to get into the habit with your client, if you're not working online, that you ask permission if you can actually just record only the meditation session, like part of the session. Like you don't have to record the entire session unless your client wants to listen to it back later, perhaps. But if you can get their permission to record just the part where you sit down and, write the meditation, where you just like, write the meditation, where you just record the meditation part that you are saying, right? If it happens that you go off on a tangent, you can trust that, follow that, talk that instead, and then you've also recorded it so you remember what you said, right? And this is so important when we look at creating your own meditations, because that's kind of how it works, right? You'll be doing it and all this information will come through. It's not that you'll be just like sitting there and okay, what's the meditation that I'm going to create, and it comes through. I mean, like, hey, anything's possible. That can happen too. That happens as well. But 99% of the time, it's when you're doing it with your client that you'll get other information, or you might be doing your own meditation and stuff starts coming through. So what happens and how do you actually do your own meditation if that happens? Okay. what's important to remember is that your voice, your sound, your vibration, your tone is a healing tool. People are attracted to you for a reason, right? It's your sound, it's your voice, it's your vibration, it's your tone, it's your energy, right? I think I remember saying to you guys in our last session, our last training, that, you know, sometimes I'll reach out to people and I'll just send a little voice message because I know the power of my voice and my tone and my vibration and the sound and the frequency, just because that's who I am and how healing that can be to someone. I can't tell you how many times I've sent a little voicemail to someone, like a new person or whoever it is, and they're like, oh, so nice to hear your voice, right? And some people do continue and say, you know, everybody's just texting these days, and I'm like, well, I've been doing voice for years, but it creates a bit more, it personifies things or whatever. You guys get it, right? So when we're looking at your vibration and your energy and your sound, right? People are attracted to you and they know, like, and trust you because of your sound, vibration, tone, energy, like all of those things. Like, you know, they get to know, like, and trust you by hearing your voice as well, right? So trust what comes through the meditations, right? And like I said, you know, you might originally get an idea or channel something when you are what is it, you know, like in the middle, right? So I'm like trying to think, I'm like, because when you're in the middle of it, it starts coming through, right? You start thinking all these other things. When, you know, like say that's an example, and you've recorded it while you're in session with your client, or you'll just leave it until you finish with your client or whatever, and then you'll you know, later on you'll go back and you might listen to it. I always recommend typing up, or handwriting, typing up your meditations. Don't ask me why, I just recommend it. Of course, you don't have to. I mean, like, you might channel something like I do with my full moon ceremony live, and then I type it up. Well, Tamara types it up for me, and then I record it from the written version. There's a reason that I do that. Number one, it's just something I've always done. Number two, I find that, I don't know, like, writing it out, like, of course I channel it live, but when I write it out and I listen back, I'm like, this, that, like, you know, I'm like, might be saying those sorts of things, right? Like, and right, like, you know, like in the meditation, when I'm channeling it live, if you've done the full moon ceremony, you might be like, yep, or you might notice it more. Sorry. So when, you type it out, you can get a clearer, crisper version, and you can take out all the likes, etc., etc. Yeah. So when you can then read it and record it, it's a clearer, finer cut version. Okay. Now, if you were recording it in a session with a client and you went off on a tangent from something that, say, I've written, and you're going through, you're going to have to rejig it a little bit, of course, okay, when you finally type out your version. This here is like an ethical structure for your meditation. So a bit like when we have a session with a client, we've got a bit of a structure happening, and we also start, you know, like, you know, we are like, when we're working with a client, we know not to take them through a wound process for the very first time, etc. Like, we have a bit of a structure. To take somebody through a meditation, to create our own meditation, there is also a structure. And for the very reasons that we've been through in Trust to Intuition, and why we have a certain structure, is very similar for a meditation. We don't want to just drop somebody into the depths of it. Okay. Number one, they might not get there, and they might be like, what the hell? Like, you know, whatever. Or they can go into like psychosis, the same sort of thing. Right. So we want to like gently take them in and gently bring them back out. Okay, so connect them with their self, the present moment, relaxing. Okay, you'll notice all my meditations mostly are like, okay, breathing in, breathing out, connecting with your breath, connecting with the present moment, feeling your spirit guides, whatever, right? Like, you know, and it's the same sort of structure in a way of Trust Intuition. If you look at it, right, it's like connecting them present moment, okay, relaxing, letting all your thoughts go, feeling your clothes, feeling the air temperature, like whatever. You'll start to channel your own. Guide them with support, connect them with their spirit helpers, angels, even their body. Yeah, right. And then you'll go into the healing section of it with whatever channeled through for you. And then the gifts, it's like, if you look at inner child, it's like we're connecting with our guides. We're going into the sanctuary. We're going to the inner child. Does she feel safe? Is she not? Bringing the angels in for support. What does she need? What is the gift? And then we're coming back out and we're saying goodbye, or she comes with us, and then we're leaving the sanctuary, right? We're bringing them back to their body, coming back to the moment. We're leaving the sanctuary. And then we're coming back to the present moment. You step into your body, you're back in your room, you gently open your eyes, moving your hands, like bringing them back to the present moment, and then writing it down to really bring them back to the present moment, right? Remember, all of this stuff is so important, okay? So when you're creating your own meditation, you use that general sort of structure as well, right? You take them in, and then you drop them into the healing, and then you bring them back to reality, okay? You're conscious, subconscious, conscious, in a way, if you want to look it up like that. Does anyone have any questions about the meditation so far? So when you put in, you start recording, okay? I used to have a proper microphone. I would love to get another one. I just haven't yet. Doing research, not the best, a lot of people recommend just your iPhone audio, or phone audio. I'm sure there's Android and stuff, right? So there's the voice memos, I think they're called. So on an iPhone, it's called voice memos. That's all I record my voice memo in. I upload it to Dropbox, and that way I can get it on my desktop computer. And then I download it to my desktop computer. And then I open GarageBand. I'm sure there's other mixing music programs and software you can buy and purchase and use. I just always use GarageBand. The background music I used from it was Envato music. It's actually so Envato, but then it's Audio Jungle. So Envato has so much stuff for people like us, entrepreneurs and whatever, to create videos. You name it, it's there, right? So on Envato, that's like the shopping center, the mall, and then there's all these little shops. So Envato is the big mall if you made the shopping center, and then Audio Jungle is one of the shops that you can go into. And so Audio Jungle is where all the background music is. In fact, I can show you right now if you like. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'll just bring this up. Oh my goodness. Opening other things. Oh my God, stop. Okay. Google Chrome. Okay, yeah. Okay. So I just typed in Audio Jungle. It is Envato, but if you go to Audio Jungle, so audiojungle.net, just remember, you always get ads first. You want to look that it actually says audiojungle.net. Usually these big sites do advertise as well. And this is the proper site. So either one of these, audiojungle.net. And you can see here, you can buy a website, themes and templates. You can buy code. You can buy video, audio, graphics, whatever, lots of stuff. So in the audio, and as you can see, it says, as I've typed in, meditation voice, ambient music, yoga meditation, whatever, right? So ambient music, for example, and it'll bring up all these pieces, and you can literally you can trial, you listen to them. I don't know if you guys can hear it. So you can get a vibe for the different background music that you're going to put with your thing. I was going to say, I don't know if you can hear that or not, but something I was going to say. Oh yeah, so usually I have the program open, so I have GarageBand open at the same time, and I press play on my voice because I've put in the recording that I've done, and I'll have my earphones in, and I'll press play, on the voice track that I've done, and then I'll come into Audio Jungle and I'll just sit there and I'm listening to my voice, but I'm just pressing play on the the backgrounds just to see, like, just and I'll just listen for it and hear it. You'll find your own way, of course, but you can also like search via different things. So you might want to go very slow, like maybe they're too fast, so you can just, all the categories on the side here, you can just choose, like, maybe it's very slow, so it slows it down a little bit. Yeah, you can hear it perfect. So you can see that these are like slower ones now, and that might be a bit more what you're sort of looking for, like that. And then obviously you just got to purchase them. But the thing about these is they're royalty free, meaning that it's something that you can use without worrying if you're stealing somebody's music. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're actually paying for royalty free to be able to use them in your business. Yeah. Okay, so what else did I want to show about that? Or if you've got questions, of course, you can just ask. I think that's all for there. So let me take you back to here, and I'll just check these Facebook comments because I forgot. Yeah, perfect. All right. So I just got to text my friend. I don't know if she's here, she's picking up her daughter, but I can't do that right now. She's picking up earlier than expected, so that's just how it is. And just checking something there as well. Okay, so okay, so this is like the royalty-free music. Like I said, it's the it's GarageBand. Like I said, there's probably other music things you can get, but it's just on a Mac, it's easy. And so then, when you put it all together, always saving your stuff, your work as you go, of course, in case you have a glitch and lose what you've done. And then when you export it, you have to export it, make sure it's an MP3, because it'll save it, but it'll just save it as a GarageBand sort of file. You've actually got to export it as an MP3 file. Excuse me. So just so you know, because it took me a little while to learn. So you've got to export it as MP3. Be mindful of storage on your device. So if you don't have a computer that's got a massive hard drive memory space, these files of music do take up a lot of memory. Same with like photos or videos, like they take up a lot of storage memory stuff. So always have a backup. And so when I create it, I'll save it to my desktop, etc. But then when I finish, then I'll move it all onto my external hard drive. And then I'll just delete it off my computer as long as it's backed up, because otherwise, it fills up your computer really fast. I learned that as well, of course. Okay, and so like I said, you don't have to create your own meditations, so don't stress. Okay, you've got the tools and Trust Intuition. That is what it is for, and the advanced training, right? If you're in there already, or with Trust Intuition, you do have the third eye chakra one. What is your intuition guiding you to do? Okay, like I said, like you're training in here, you've got access to these tools. You don't have to stress going, oh my god, I can't create my own. Like, when you go over time, like in 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, 5 years of having clients, you will probably find that you will start channeling your own. It's just something that happens. Okay, and if it never happens, you don't have to stress about that either. Okay, because some of the most powerful ones can be the most simple ones, like recalling your energy, and that's all you ever have to do with your clients. Like, there's no right or wrong here. Okay, all right, so where to start as a healer, transitioning from free to paid. This is what we've been talking about. So to have some sort of like guidelines about how we do this, okay? So you can get testimonials whenever you are doing freebies, because in the start, getting our confidence up is good, and doing freebies is how we do that. Now, you do not have to start doing freebies. You can start doing paid sessions. Like, you can just announce that you are, and this is what you do, right? Like, there is no rules here, and you get to create your business, your life, your reality, okay? If you are going to do some free sessions first, okay, a bit like what I just said with that previous aspect here, where were we? Yeah, like when we're talking about sacred keys and like, do you have somebody to support you with this, etc. And setting these boundaries. The other piece here is around, like you could have an option with a particular person only if you wanted to, okay? And you can say like, hey, like, sounds like you've got a lot of stuff going on. Do you have somebody to help you with this? No, blah, blah. You can say, well, this is actually what I do as a career. This is what I do for work. This is my job. So how about, like, sounds like you need some support. And again, this is like your own intuition. Don't have to do this with everyone. You can be like, I'm happy to offer you 3 free sessions. Okay, little side note, there is never a freebie. They give you an exchange of a testimonial. Okay, that's their payment to you in the start. Okay, you never just do it for free and you never speak to them again. You always get a testimonial. You can say, yeah, I can do it for free with an exchange of a testimonial. How does that sound? Most people, and you can say to them, like I say, it only needs to be a sentence or 2, like, because then it takes the pressure off them having to write this big long paragraph. Do you know what I mean? And so you can do a few of these, right? So you can set boundaries with people. You can say, that you can do 3 free sessions. But then after that, if you need more, well, then I'll have to get you to book in as a paying client. How does that sound? Now, again, depending on the person might turn around and just go, oh, no, don't worry about it. Like, do you know what I mean? And some people, I've had people do that in the past, they'll just keep, when I was transitioning from free to paid, I experienced this, it was literally like, they would just message me and ask for a reading or, and I actually got one, a couple of weeks back actually, and it was an old friend, but we don't talk really, she's not really a friend now, but we grew up together sort of thing. And, and she just sent me a random message saying, can you do a reading for me? And I hadn't spoken to her. I hadn't, done anything. And at the time I was just like, no, like it was my first response. She's seen, all my business stuff. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like she doesn't know that I don't do this for work sort of thing. And we have communicated in the past about my work or whatever. Anyway, I just said, oh, like, I'd love to be able to help you. I said, but if you'd like to book in for a reading, sure, like, especially for me, and only $97 at the moment sort of thing. Like, it's just like, that's a boundary. I'm like, you're not going to pay for that. It's just a boundary that I'm like, no. What I do say is I'm like, if you don't want to book in, that's totally, that's totally okay. You can check my Tuesday tarot every Tuesday if you like. There's free readings there. That is what I do offer to people. And so, like sometimes in having your freebie, whether that's doing, readings or having a free meditation that you offer, like an audio. So also in the start, I had so my freebie right before, I think it was even before Tuesday Tarot, it was before Tuesday Tarot, was my internal compass chakra clearing. And that was the way I started building my email list. So I had, I would talk about it online all the time. It'd be like, people would ask me questions. I'm like, have you cleared your energy? Have you cleared your energy? Have you cleared your energy? Because it's the first thing we've got to do, right? And I started like getting tired of it. But at the same time, I wasn't tired of it. It was just, I noticed I was talking about it. And then I, put that as my freebie. So I created the sales page, the landing page on my website. It's like, sign up for my free meditation, right? Get it delivered to your inbox, etc. So remember, nothing is for free. They exchange a testimonial, they exchange an email, they give you something. Okay, nothing's ever really free. Sometimes it is, right? Sometimes I direct people straight to my SoundCloud, like the light body activation, for example. They don't even need to sign up for my email for that one, right? Any sort of marketing person would say, don't do that. Okay, over the years, in the start, I wouldn't do that. In the start, I'd always get a testimonial or they'd exchange to my email. Many people are happy to sign up with their email to get a free meditation. Like, it's not even really a thing, right? So you can think about something like that for yourself. What are your boundaries with people who do just ask and ask and ask and ask, and maybe you don't get that right now, but it's just something to be aware of. And what is your freebie that you're going to exchange to start building your email list? Okay, because any business, whether you're in person or not, needs an email list. Okay, if the social media goes down, you need an email list, right? If Facebook goes down, you're going to need an email list. You're going to need to contact your tribe. Okay, So start thinking about those sorts of things. Now, you know, and not necessarily, you know, it's just like the email list, like, and again, you don't have to try and figure this out right now. Okay. But what you do need to quote unquote figure out is, what are you going to do with your, what is it? You know, like, what is your freebie going to be? Okay. Now, again, you might not know what that is right now. Don't stress about it. But what I'm saying these things for is that as you start doing psychic readings, as you start getting up and doing your thing consistently, whatever that is for you, you will start to notice that you're saying the same thing over and over again. And hey, maybe it is a chakra clearing meditation, and maybe you create your own, right? Like, there's a million chakra clearings out there. I don't care if you do the same, right? This is what you're training for in here. Okay. Because if you start doing something that's similar, like a chakra clearing, you'll start to get more information about what you are to do, right? So don't stress about it. But you'll want something that's an exchange. Perhaps it's a 5-step PDF that they sign up for that explains how to, I don't know, clear their energy, but you write it all down in a sign up for my free how to clear your energy thing or something. I don't know. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't have to be an audio. It could be a mini ebook. It could be a mini recipe book, whatever, right? But it's something that you want to exchange to start building your email list. It's how we start building our email list when we're not advertising, paid advertising, yeah? So being able to say no, and that's okay. That's the biggest thing that we get uncomfortable with. You know how they say feel the fear and do it anyway? We say feel the guilt and do it anyway, okay? Feel the guilt and say no anyway. And like I said before, you know, I say I can't serve in the capacity that I do and help the amount of people that I do with these boundaries to support myself energetically and physically, so I can keep helping people without these boundaries. I trust you understand. It sounds like you need help with da da da. I have this free resource. Would you like it? I have this free chakra clearing meditation. Would you like it? Yeah. So same thing again. And like I said, they will either respect that or they won't. Yeah. Okay. And so, yeah, you'll energetically feel it as well around people. What was I saying there? So don't give up. They're just boundaries, and they need changing, adjusting because you've shifted. Oh, that's right. Okay. And people walk away. Yes, structures need to be put in place. Okay. So this is kind of what I was saying before as well, right? Like, you'll start to energetically feel it when you need to put boundaries in place, like going from free to paid. Like, I was happy to sit there online and for however long I was doing it per day, you know, and sit there and just answer messages for free. People would reach out and I'd, you know, give them whatever advice for free. Like, that's just what I did normally. I didn't even think about it because that's what we do. We help people, right? But over time, I started to feel like it was a natural progression. Like, I couldn't just keep giving free advice all the time. Like, and that's where these boundaries started to be implemented, right? So you'll start to feel it. You'll know it and feel it when you start doing it, or you can just start putting it in now, right? Because even if you do put it in now, before you need to, you're also creating an energetic container. You're also creating your business. And this is how your business works. And you're saying to the universe, I'm ready. Look at these boundaries, because it changes the energetic dynamics. And so you're also ready for clients. So how about you do that instead of waiting to feel it? So from my opinion, I'm like, why didn't I do that in the start? Why didn't anybody teach me how to do that in the start? I don't know. I don't know. Wow. Okay. Did you guys feel the difference when I said that? I was like, what if you just put these boundaries in place now and get clear on how your business runs, and that sort of thing. And, you know, maybe you don't know, and that's totally okay. And that's why we do the transitioning, right? But maybe you're like, no, I'm really clear. This is how my business runs. This is what it's going to look like. This is what it's going to be like. This is how much I'm going to earn. This is how many clients I'm going to have. This is what trainings I'm going to run. Like, you might be really clear. And if you just start freaking putting yourself out there and this is how it is, like, can you imagine how fast that's going to grow? Can you feel the difference with that? That feels huge. Oh my goodness. I wish somebody taught me that at the start. Far out. Wow, I'm really goosebumpy with that. That's huge. Okay. Whew. So when you start to feel like you want to give up, it's not about giving up. It's just that your boundaries you've evolved, you've shifted, you've expanded. And so too do the boundaries need to grow with that. Yeah, you've just moved to the next container, the next energetic container. Your boundaries and the rules of how your business works also needs to move. But people will give up and walk away at that point. Remember, that's not the point. It's just expansion point to the next level, and everything needs to adjust with you with that. Okay. So people walk away at this point because they're exhausted, but it's just that things need changing. Okay. Structures need to be put in place because that's the masculine, right? Remember, the masculine is the structure that holds the feminine. The masculine and the feminine work the business together. Yeah. You do your intuitive flow within the structure, within the boundaries, within all of those pieces we've spoken about. Yeah. And there will always be people that come with you, and there will always be people that don't. Like I said, just when we're talking about with your clients are a reflection of you, your clients will shift with you or your clients will drop off, right? This is about building relationships. Focus on your tribe, offer free tools to support them. And I rarely do an exchange for energy, i.e. a reading for a reading or a reading for a massage. I just don't do it. It's just a rule that I have. For me, it doesn't feel energetically nourishing. It doesn't feel equal. Not that what they do is wrong or bad or whatever. I just feel like I would prefer to pay them for their services, and I would rather them pay me for my services. Then it feels equal, right? Like there's no like I'm better than them and it doesn't, equal. It's not even about that for me, right? It doesn't even feel that for me. But I rarely do an energy exchange, like no matter what it is. So it's interesting because that's what the email is about. And I think that's why I had to sit with it, because I'm like, I don't usually do this. Interesting. But interesting, that came to mind about the $1 million contract, because I have a feeling that that's leading somewhere, because it feels like an opportunity that I haven't had before. So it's interesting, right? We're like, sit with things. Where's the energy exchange? Where's the boundaries here, right? So when you're transitioning from free to paid, it is about building relationships. Any top marketing entrepreneur, any marketing guru actually will tell you that it's not about the thing, it's about the relationship. And I know we've spoken about this before. People buy when they know the person. People buy what feels comfortable to them. People buy when they trust the brand. Okay. If you've been buying a certain brand at the supermarket for years, and then all of a sudden there's a new one, unless it has a fully amazing vibe and you're like, oh, I can feel this, right? You probably won't even buy that brand. You might not even see it, because you're just so used to buying the one that you're comfortable with, the one that you know, the one that you like, the one that you trust, that you've always bought. 99% of people will go to this one over the new one. It takes a little while. They might see it and they're like, and then they might hear somebody talking about it. They're like, oh, I saw that. And then they'll go to shop and they'll still buy the one they like. But then next time they might be like, I might try this one, right? People buy about the relationship that they have with it. Okay. So when you're looking at building, your business, you're building relationships. You build a relationship, you'll have a business. Okay. And you focus on your tribe, offer free tools to support them. Now, I was going to say, a lot of people that I know have free stuff that they offer their tribe. Okay. I was going to say any business. I'm like, no, I don't know. That's true. Not really any business. But look at a shop. I don't know that they give free, like we look at a supermarket, they don't really give free stuff away, but they have a relationship with their customers, like the products do, really. Not necessarily the people, depending on I'm talking about big supermarket chains as the example that came to mind. So, they don't really give free stuff away, but people got a relationship with that product, right? So when we're looking at our sort of business, for me personally, it is about offering free tools. Now, you might not have any free tools. You don't have any free meditations. You don't have any free PDFs. Hannah, what the fuck are you talking about? I don't know how to do that, right? But what you do have is your voice. What you do have is your energy. What you do have is your presence. And what you do have is you can get up on live stream and start talking whatever about spiritual stuff, or your journey, or your story, or your thing that you've learned, or your your psychic readings, or whatever you do, right? Like you've got that's your free offering. By the way, you don't have to have something else as well, but I guarantee you that will come with time, right? So like I said, I rarely do an exchange, and that's something that you just need to be clear on as well, because I still get today a lot of people, they're like, hey, would you like to swap sessions? And I'm just like, no, I'd rather pay you for a session if I felt called for it. And I'd prefer you to pay me. So, and sometimes you never hear from them again, right? That's okay. All right, so I'm just gonna check these comments here. All right, perfect. Yay. All right, this one. Okay, we are nearly there. Okay, so sorry, I was just checking the thing. I'm going to share my screen again. Just checking what we got left. Not much. Oh my God, it's our last training. Okay, so I'm just going to have a drink. All right. Oh, didn't we just do this? Oh no, sorry, I fucked up. I forgot to change the slide. So I guess, no, this is just the bonuses and then essential bonuses. So there are some things that are just bonuses that, you know, you can go through them if you want to. They're not essential for your certification, but there is some that are stuff you do have to go through. And when I put the PDF together, you'll see very clearly that you have to watch this, or these are just extras. And when it's just extras, excuse me, in the future, when you're done and dusted and you've got certification, if you want to, I want to say, advance your skills, obviously you can take whatever course calls to you. But there's so much stuff in Trust Your Intuition that, like I said, sorry guys, I should have brought up the other screen. When I was like, because I wasn't clear, I was like, what do I do with this? Like, I don't know what to do with this, you know, and when I was just gonna like delete all the old stuff, Tamara's like, no, can you tell me I'm gonna like download everything? I'm like, okay, that's all I needed to know. And she said there's so much gold in there, and I forget, right? I forget what's in there. I forget how much we've gone through over the years. So obviously, if you're here new in 2021, there's a lot of stuff that it's not that I haven't gone through. I've gone through everything. That's why it's 14 weeks, what have you. But in the 2016 training, so if I just show you, and some of you might already know this. So what we've done today and over these last few weeks, couple of months, is we've done like 3-hour chunks of training, 3-hour chunks of training, right? So talk for a long time in these 3-hour chunks. And it's a lot. All right, you guys know that. In the 2016 training, it's not like that. Okay. There's only 5 modules, as you can see. Okay. But in each module is there tiny little videos. Okay. So let me just go back to module 2. Oh, let's see. So in module 2, for example, instead of doing a whole 3-hour training, you can see here like calming breath, meditation, self-care routines. Like I think we did all of that, creating safety, sunlight, chakra clearing meditation, etc., etc. Like they're all in little chunks. So for example, this creating safety that I think we did in one of the 3-hour trainings, this is like an 8-minute video. Okay. So if ever you need to go back and find something, I mean, like you're going to have the list from what we've gone through, and maybe you'll never have to come into the old trainings, right? But I just wanted to show you that there are all the pieces in tiny little snippet videos, and they are the old videos. They are the ones I did from back then. So maybe there's pearls of wisdom in there that I didn't say these times, and maybe this time it was an advanced, part from what I trained, said back then in 2016. So there's no right or wrong, and you don't have to go back through this. I'm just letting you know because there is a lot of stuff here. The other thing is that, as you guys probably know, the recorded the replays from all our support calls are here, all the way back. So there's 2020, 2021. I thought there was more than that. I'll have to have a look at that. But there's like the older ones as well. Like you've got all the different, like there's all the old stuff, like pretty much from when we originally started. In the essential to watch, there is quite a lot here. If you're going to do any of them, these are the ones that I would be like going back through. So once you've done a Dustin and got your certificate, these are the ones I would highly recommend. These are like some pure pieces of gold that I really have gone through over the years. And I really like that in the essential to watch, because I'm like, you guys need to know this, right? So some of them are what we need to, like some, I think there's only 2 or 3 that you'd have to watch as essential, like to get your certification, but the rest are just optional. There's the previous psychic development classes that we used to hold in the group, and then all audio meditations in one place, or the PDFs in one place, which we've just got to update those PDFs. So they're the old ones at the moment. So there's still a bit of updating to do, but I just wanted to let you know that. And the reason that I'm letting you know that is because, so basically just don't worry about it if you're feeling overwhelmed, because you're going to get all the details about it. At the end of the day, you don't have to go through all the old stuff. I'm just letting you know that there is a lot there. Because one thing that I do recommend is the how to read your own tarot cards. Now that's from the original 2016 training, and I'm not going to do that in this training today, because this is here, and that's a step-by-step video one. So definitely recommend that. And then there's also the how to read your own tarot and oracle cards, which is a psychic development replay that I did, I don't know, a month or 2 ago. We were in the middle of our trust intuition training when I held this in the Reality Awareness support group. So I'm going to find that replay and I'll put it in this section here. So when you're watching the replay on your members login, you'll be able to, it'll be the next video underneath here, sort of thing, right? So I'm going to organize all that for you, but I just want to let you know that there's those 2 there that I do recommend, because there are pieces of gold in these. They're really important to, if you're going to read, you know, psychic cards, or do psychic readings, psychic cards, and, you know, do your oracle and tarot reading, you know, as freebies or whatever. Leanne said that was absolute gold. I know it was, right? It's amazing. And I think, you know, that's like a prime example too of, you know, what I used to do and what I've held as a, you know, like step by step. And even though it's probably really awesome information in what I've pre-recorded as well, like when I held the live one, I was like, oh, this is like an updated version in a way, right? So yeah, so if any of the old stuff you don't kind of resonate with, like, just don't watch it, right? Just if you're not sure, just ask me, is there an updated version of this or of whatever you're watching? Because there probably will be. That's why I ran this training as a 14-week live training, right? And as you can see, the difference with even this one, like, it's just, it's up to date. It's me as I am today, not 5 years ago, you know, which is I've grown a lot. And not that the training's bad, it's just that it's an updated version, right? So that one's there as well. And just checking these comments here. Yeah, perfect. So again, and I'm just kind of giving you an overview of what's sort of essential. Like this one definitely is, especially if you want to, well, I want to say especially if you want to learn, like do free psychic readings and stuff to build relationships. Like I do recommend it because people love freaking cards, you know, so yeah. Then the mindset stuff. So this is like the original mindset stuff that I did when I first created Trust Intuition, is a simple intuitive journal magic. It's a very short mini course. It does explain, you know, like what if I'm not a writer? How do I do it if I'm not good at writing or whatever? How do I visualize? So if you're new to the mindset stuff, I do recommend watching this. If you've done some of my mindset stuff in the past, you probably don't need to watch this. But the mindset reset, illuminate your mind, illuminate your life. I am supposed to be starting this Wednesday in Transcendence Reality Society, and I'm going to drop like new affirmations, going to do new trainings. So you guys will have access to that. You don't have to watch that straight away, but it is something I do recommend after you've done your certification, because you will be starting to step into building your business. And it does, that's how I've built my business, is the mindset work that goes alongside building a business, right? So definitely something to do in the future. Also the wealth activation codes, they're its own little mini course as well that I'll grant you guys access to. Some of you might already have it. And it is, again, going into the mindset work, which I will cover a bit of in the mindset reset too. Is similar but same, but updated, but just it's similar information, but new affirmations, etc., etc. The wealth activation codes is awesome because it's in, I think it's only 5 videos long that I did or something, but I literally put them together as like, here's some affirmations, here's a subconscious process that you're going to use to release whatever comes up, and then here's the outcome. Like it's really awesome. I actually really love it. So these are definitely 3 little mindset pieces, somewhat not so little when we go into actually the content, but definitely something to work through as well after you've got your certification. It's kind of the next step and the next phase. Of course, when you get your certification and you're done and dusted, it is about learning your, Facebook page, how do I set up email lists, etc., right? At the same time, you want to be doing this mindset work, and you don't have to get the email stuff set up before you start getting clients. Like you don't, okay? And this will start getting you, receiving clients before you've got that stuff set up, okay? The other thing is the Moon Goddess Initiation. Now, there is a series of videos in Trust Intuition as well that I have created, back on the original training, and it is something, it must be in the bonuses. I'll just show you this one as well. It is something I do recommend going through as well. I think it's one of the essential ones to go through. So let me just have a look in the bonuses here. Yeah, so the Moon Goddess Initiation. So these are the bonuses. Like you can see, the How to Read Your Own Tarot Cards is there. The Moon Goddess Initiation, the Simple Intuitive Journal Magic, the Hands That Heal and the Wings That Fly, we're going to go through today. The Animal Spirit Guides is sort of more for the older trainings that I did, but we've had the Lion for this one. So these 3 here, I might actually pop the Psychic Development class in here, actually, because it just feels like it's all together then. But yeah, these ones are ones I definitely would go through. The Moon Goddess Initiation, you have to as well. I think there's maybe 5 or 6 videos or something like that, but it does explain the cycles, and going through the cycles of life, etc. So definitely, go through this. And this, it looks like Tamara's actually put a full moon ceremony in here. Oh, maybe. Oh no, that's what I have. So I'm going to actually add a full moon ceremony that we've done in the past in here, so you have an example of it and experience it if you haven't ever experienced a full moon ceremony. So what was I going to say? Yeah, so that'll be something you'll go through as well. And then saying I'm a lot, sorry guys. I'm going to write a PDF book, not a full book, just like a mini ebook soon on the Moon Goddess, on the Moon Initiation, etc. Maybe it'll turn into a full book. You guys will have access to that, okay? But for now, there's the videos to go through as well. So they're the sort of ones that are essential to go through. And like I said, I'll pop them in the PDF of one of the things that you tick off. So our last bit is the Hands That Heal and the Wings That Fly. This is literally about the hands-on healing, okay? Now, what this is not Reiki, okay? I learned hands-on healing back in 2005 when I was doing my Lightworker practitioner training. It's something that's like a no-brainer. Everybody can fucking do this, okay? Just like everybody's psychic, everybody can heal with their hands, okay? And I'm going to explain why in a moment, but you might already know. But what this is not Reiki, okay? Now, I've trained in Reiki up to level 2 when I did my yoga teacher training. I personally didn't resonate with it. I really don't. I still don't today. It's not there's anything wrong with it. I just don't like it. I have heard, I never really resonated with it. I don't like it. I don't like, I'm trained in it. I've never used it. I use hands-on healing, okay? Not there's anything wrong with it. Please know I'm clear about that. Over the years, I did hear somebody say that there's a energetic sort of cap, if you may, of Reiki. And like, you know, and I just heard this through someone else saying that, you know, like if the first thing that this practitioner does, if she knows that somebody's being trained in Reiki, is untrains them and uninitiates them from the Reiki system, because it is like a bit of an energetic hold. And I was like, wow, that kind of makes sense and resonates. Not that I've, you know, gone through the uninitiation process, but when I did hear that, I sort of did say to myself, okay, like, please leave my field, you know, like sort of thing. Like I did sort of have that just a brief conversation with myself about it. Not that I felt anything different or not. I mean, who really knows? But it was just interesting as well, because I just resonated with it. But hey, I don't resonate with everything, and nobody does. So again, there's no right or wrong. But I just wanted to really reiterate that this is not Reiki. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And this is just that somebody and anybody can do this. Okay. So what we're covering in the Hands That Heal and the Wings That Fly is that, you know, what on earth you need to know this for. Okay. Don't be silly. You don't have wings. And I'm like, well, that's fucking bullshit, actually. What you really need to know about your wings and why nobody actually uses them, and how you can use your hands and wings to heal your life, and healing your wings and hands. Yeah. All right. So what is it about your hands? This is what we're going to talk about now, and why you need to know about your hands that heal and how to use them to heal your life. Yeah. So everybody can start to feel their hands. Do they feel them heating up or not now that we're just starting to talk about them? So what is it about your hands? Well, the simple thing is, as soon as we hurt ourselves, what do? We're like, oh shit, ow, what the that? Right? We're like, as soon as we hurt ourselves, we put a hand on it. As soon as our child hurts themselves, we're like, oh, we hold them. The first thing that somebody does when they hurt themselves is they're like, oh, what was that? We put a hand on it, right? So first, I just sore head, ow, right? Intuitively, we're doing that, right? Like, it's the first thing we do. Yeah, our hands heal naturally. Like, we're born to heal. As soon as we hurt ourselves, we put a hand on it. It's like, ow, what was that? We put a hand on it straight away before we even realize what it is, right? Our hands, our arms, they're connected to our heart. And our hands, how much we love and touch things. Maybe we're really clairsentient, so we need to feel everything. But it's because it's our heart, right? And we also have chakras in our hands, just like the chakras in our body. And just like, you know, with the chakras in our body, and I focus on the 8 chakras here at Reality Awareness, but there's literally thousands of chakras in your body, the acupuncture points, there's a chakra on each of the acupuncture points. Like, there is thousands of chakras on our body. Just like our hands, there is thousands of chakras on our hands, as well as the 2 big main ones. Yeah, or maybe there's more, right? There's thousands. Okay, they're energy portals. Yeah. Now our hands hold everything, right? From animals to babies to, we do things with our hands. We create, we type with our hands, right? We write with our hands. Yeah. Just like in ear chakra consciousness, just gone. Oh, well, it is ear chakra consciousness. Archangel Chamuel, it's being present with our hands. The energy that we are typing with, not just our words, what energy is channeling through our hands into the letter that gets imprinted on the page that somebody reads. You guys know that's the thing, right? Just because it's technology doesn't mean there's energy in the letter that you've typed with your hand, with your thought process that goes in. Powerful, right? When you're sitting there typing and you're imagining at the same time that healing green light is channeling through your fingertips onto the paper, so that onto the electronic paper, so that when somebody reads your post on Facebook, they are healed. Next level healing, isn't it? Have you ever thought about that? It's pretty powerful, right? Have you thought about when you can really feel somebody's posts, you can feel somebody's words? Why? Maybe they've done that. Maybe their heart and soul is in it. Powerful, yeah? So you can start thinking about that when you're writing your sales pages, when you're writing your posts, when you're putting yourself out there, when you're cooking your food, when you're, yeah? So your hands as a general basis, right? The left is receiving, the masculine is giving. So receiving, feminine, feels things, it's the inflow in, the energy flows in, you sense things. And the right is the giving, right? Energy flows out, okay? So when you're doing a hands-on healing, right, or you're healing yourself, sure, you can channel colors of light, and we'll talk about this in a moment, or anything, or symbols, or whatever, out of your hands into your head or wherever, right? You can definitely think about that and channel out from both hands, okay? It's not that you're like, oh, well, this is the only giving and outflow one, I can only use one hand. Like, no, right? Remember, in a chakra, there's both inflow and outflow in the same inlet, if you may. Yeah. So, but usually if I'm sensing something, if I want to sense something in the ground or an energy or pick up something, I want to say I usually hold it in my left hand. And I want to say, actually, I don't really think about it these days. I just use both hands to receive the information, right? But if I really want to think about it, and if I really want to tune in, well, then I'll hold it in my left hand, because I know that my left hand naturally receives things. Now, this is so important. I notice this so strongly. Maybe that's the level of my sensitivity or something, but it's also something to become aware of, because if our feminine hand is, and it might be opposite for you. So for example, with what I'm talking now is for people who are generally right-handed, right? If you're generally left-handed, it might be the opposite is true for you. So tune in, or just in general, it might be different for you. So if I'm driving somebody else's car, when I'm driving, sometimes I just have my left hand resting on the gear stick or whatever. Sometimes I just can't have it sitting there, because I'm feeling all that person's stuff. Like I start picking up, or like I just can't have it sitting on there. Even in my own car, you know, it's a reasonably new car, but when I bought it, it wasn't brand new, and I had to do a lot of energy work on that car when I first got it, because I was feeling the guy that owned it before me, right? And especially on the gear stick, like, you know, it's something I'm very conscious of, right? Now, obviously that's in Australia, we're on the right hand side, etc. It might be different for you guys, but just as ideas, examples, things to be conscious of. I know we're meeting somebody, usually women don't shake, but if we're right hand shaking somebody, if we're hugging somebody, you know, if we're picking up stuff, whatever. What's the other thing? So when I used to catch the bus, right? If I catch the bus, I can't have my hand on the seat. I can't have my hand sitting on something. I can't hold on to a pole. I can't. I can choose to. I'm so conscious that I just start receiving all this information. Now, if we're doing that unconsciously and we're like a vacuum picking up all this stuff, it's something to be conscious of with your energy, because I'm really sensitive to it. Yeah. Maybe it's both hands for you. Okay. Whose hands are warming up or feeling energy in them, or just so much more conscious of your hands at the moment as we're talking? Wondering if you're noticing your hands, the energy in your hands. So when we need to stop somebody's energy coming into us, we can use our hands, right? They might be in another country. They might be in another state. They might be in another suburb. But when we're really needing to clear energy, we can use a sword. But we can also be like, get out of my house. Like really strong, like energetically clear your aura, clear, like, you know, use your hands. They're very strong energies here. Yeah. Get out. Rah, rah, rah. Yeah. So really, really important. Yeah. Really, really powerful, actually. Yeah. Yeah. Christy says warming. Yeah. Right. Very strong. Very strong. Definitely. Yes. All right. So what do we now do with that? How do we use our hands? We can use our hands for lots of things. Like I said, get out. No. What do? We're also stopping people, right? When you use your energy vortex coming out at the same time, doubly stronger. Don't come near me. People feel that. People feel our energy anyway when we direct it. Don't come near me. Even more, right? Something to also keep in mind too, by the way, with all this authority in the world, right? And if we're ever confronted, we use our energy because we're powerful and people feel our shit anyway, right? Well, when it feel our shit, like people feel like we stir up stuff. So we can also use our energy to protect us. Yeah. For scenes coming out of Melbourne in the middle of the city with fucking 4 or 5 men jumping on you, maybe a little bit different story, but just in a general conversation with an officer or something like that, you remember your energy and you remember how powerful you are, and you remember that you can energetically push your energy out even if you're standing like this. Yeah, you might even be standing with your hands down by your side and you're consciously like, get away from me, and you're beaming energy out. I guarantee people will feel that no matter how unconscious they are. Okay, so important to remember how powerful your energy is for any situation. Yeah, we're strong. Even for any authority, whether it might be a doctor or someone who's trying to tell you something, like, you know, that you're standing in your truth and integrity about, this is where we turn our energy on. Yeah, big time, big time. We're powerful for a reason. Yeah. So we can use our energy for lots of things. Okay, now just see what else I've got here. Okay, so when I'm saying the energy vortex coming out, we can literally just imagine white light, a rainbow, any specific color. Okay, you can do research on different color therapy and what different colors mean and their healing properties, their strengths. You could, quote unquote, you could do the Reiki symbols, right? You could also do the liquid crystal symbols. Now, you don't have to know the symbols off by heart, okay? But you could also like just channel a crystal. You could channel a flower essence. You could channel sunlight. You could channel fire. You could channel air. You could channel wind. It's the same thing. You could channel water, I meant to say. You could channel mountains. You could channel any friggin' thing you choose. Now, you could also channel mountains underneath you, around you, through your feet, through your body, to ground you. You could channel the sunlight to warm you. You could channel the sunlight to make you happy. You could do anything. See what's happening here? See how anything you think about, you can channel. And I'm talking funny, I'm just being sort of sarcastic in a way, but I'm not, because you can friggin' channel anything you tune your mind to, right? Sometimes with the flower essences or the crystals, I literally ask them, I'm like, smoky quartz of 100% light, please channel through me right now. Please clear my aura. Please ground me. Please whatever. Maybe I'm needing grounding right now, like mountains and whatever. Right? Maybe it's around too much technology or something, whatever. Yeah, you see that? Huge, right? Massive, right? With food, I don't have an apple. With your food, and you guys know the power of changing water with our thoughts. I love you, right? I get water delivered. You guys know that, right? And I've been doing something lately because, you know, when I get water delivered, and like, I think I might have said this actually, and I go in there and like I'll sing to the water bottles. And then I remember watching ages ago some Indian man talking about it with the water like he said that, like, I guess in the Indian, you know, I don't know if every household does it, but he said that they have the water that they drink sitting in their household for a certain amount of time before they will drink it, because their energy is going into it. They're praying over it. They're giving offerings, right? And then they're drinking that water. And I was like, wow, actually my water sits there for a bit, because, you know, it's not like I'm drinking it all at once. And it sits there for a bit in my house, in my pantry, you know, and I'm like, now I'm consciously working with that. Now I'm consciously like making it sit there for as long as possible, you know, and conscious of which bottles are first and last and whatever like that, for that reason. So we can literally send certain healing vibrations into our water, into our food, and we don't have to sit there and meditate for hours. Like, we could, but even just when we're preparing the food and we're cutting up and we're stirring and we're doing all our magic, it's automatic through our hands, just by a thought. This is why we can heal with our hands like that, and why anybody can do it. However, because of our training and just what we do, it might be a little bit stronger than an unconscious person, for example. Yeah. Cleaning is another one. I know I speak about this a lot too, but when we're cleaning, I like cleaning my own house, I've discovered, because I clean energetically as I'm doing it. It's white light coming out of my hands, it's a lavender coming out of my hands, it's psychic protection coming out of my hands, whatever. I'm cleaning with my hands and my energy, and I'm asking Archangel Michael to vacuum with me as well, right? All of those things. Yeah. Channeling ascended masters during exams. Oh my God, I love that one. I love that so much. This is what I'm talking about. Exactly, right? Desta says, I do this, my water and food. Exactly. Guys, it's so powerful. And I think we forget this at times. Well, I know I forget this at times, right? I forget this at times. It's the little things. And this all these little things, this also strengthens our psychic awareness. These are psychic development exercises that you're also doing right now, let alone the healing that we're doing. We become a walking healing vortex. We become the healer, not just when we're practicing, but in our, you know, these little things that we're doing is strengthening your psychic muscles. Yeah, in all ways, your energy field, your, like all of it. Yeah. Because why are they powerful? Because they are an extension of your heart, your hands, your arms. It's our heart. Yeah. And the more we're like consciously stretching, opening to the abundance of the universe, like, you know, like most mornings I'll go outside and I'll stand at the pool and like see the sunrise, and I'll be like, and I'm opening to the abundance of the universe and all the amazing things that happened today. And I'm so grateful, and I'm opening my heart and energy, and I'm like consciously like opening my heart and energy to the abundance of the universe. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just, yeah, it's our heart, opening our heart. It's a simple, tiny little process like that changes the entire day. Yeah. So there are some questions in the PDFs that I'll get to you as well. Now, the last one is the wings. Yeah, our wings. You don't have wings, fucking oath, we have wings, and they're massive. We're going to find out why you need to know about your wings, how to use them, and which type of wings do you have. So again, they are an extension of your heart. Yeah, we can flap our wings, but they also do come out of your shoulder blades. Now, on that Egyptian show, Gods of Egypt, or Egypt Gods or something, before I canceled my Netflix, it's the last thing I watched. And I was kind of like, oh, that's how they work. So, you know, like when I've always had wings or something and kind of draw them, or, you know, it's like, how do they sit there? Because they're so little, right? And it's interesting, like when the gods transformed into humans and then they transformed back into their gods, it was almost like mechanical on their wings, but it was like the wings like folded in, and they folded in on itself inside, almost like a transformer. I don't think that's what we are, but that's what it like kind of looked like. And I was like, oh, maybe they do kind of just fold in or something. I don't know. Another kind of interesting concept. However, we want our wings out, right? They are an extension of our heart. In the light field yoga, the heart chakra pose is literally laying down on the ground, like you can see that. I don't know if you can see that very well because it might be too small and it's a little bit blurry. Some of you might know this, but I just want to show you. So it's like you're literally laying down on the ground, your knees are up and together, and then your shoulders, your elbows are at shoulder height, and then your top of your thumb just comes across your breast there, and your fingers are facing down towards your butt, right? And so you're laying on the ground with your knees up. That's the heart chakra pose. So it's easy to do while you're laying in bed as well. And you can literally imagine the energy vortex moving through your heart and opening through the back and the front, or whatever feels comfortable for you. So just a little heart activation that you can do there as well. And there's like different types of wings, of course, and they might have a past life trauma. So you could do a past life meditation to reclaim your wings. They might have been chopped off. They might, just like our hands, actually same thing, right? It was seen in some shows where they literally chop out our tongue, our ears, our eyes, our hands, because they're our most powerful assets. Tongue for voice, etc., right? Can't speak and say spells or whatever. But past life trauma. So if you feel that you might need to, you'll know whether you need to do a past life meditation to reclaim your wings or not. Sometimes they might be chained with balls. Somebody might have a cord attached to them, chained, like got your wings chained, like they've captured you, sort of thing. Or they might have cut them off. You might need to reclaim them, etc. You don't have to watch it, but I really felt like I realized who I was when I watched Maleficent, which is like the backstory to Snow White. She had her wings cut off, and I was just like, wow, that just makes so much sense, and her level of connection to nature and whatever. So it was very interesting about that humans cut our wings off, that sort of storyline. It just sort of explains quite a lot really in depth. So you might need to reclaim your wings, right? You can do that via a past life meditation. You can also find out what sort of wings you have, and maybe you might have all of them, or you might have different wings to these, or you might just know what wings you have. You might know, just tuning in now, whether your wings are big, small, if they are chained or need to come out or don't feel safe to come out. It might be like our third eye. We need to work with the relationship with our wings again. Your imagination is the limit, but you can also build the relationship back with your wings, right? Just like all our other spiritual organs. Like, I feel like it's really important that we do build our relationship back with our wings, because they are part of who we are, just like our psychic awareness. Like it's part of who we are. Yeah. And maybe you don't have wings, right? I'm not saying that everybody does, but a lot of us do, yeah, of some sort. So tuning into what wings you have. And again, what if you don't have wings? Well, maybe you're like a gnome or a different realm. And this is really important, right? So I said you might not have wings, and that's totally okay, because there's so many different realms. These two books, like, yes, Doreen's gone on a different path now, but these two books that she wrote, really, I love these two books. It was, again, like coming home, hence like Maleficent. It was like, it's a realm. Yeah. So Maleficent is like the queen of the fairy, queen of the earth, queen of the fairies, queen of like all of that. And really literally like reclaiming her wings, right? But there's gnomes, there's wizards, there's elementals, there's all different types of realms. So you might not resonate with having wings, okay? These are really awesome for understanding who we are in the different realms. Yeah, and it is like a homecoming. So I do recommend reading these if you haven't read them before, because it does help you reclaim part of who you are, yeah, and your gifts even, yeah. So what do your wings do? Our wings open our hearts, yeah. They help us to balance, right, in all aspects. If our wings are cut off or chained or closed or anything like that, they're going to like, I want to say like homeostasis, balance. Like if you've literally had a limb removed, you're not going to be yourself. Like, look at the Maleficent story. She became the evil, nasty person because she was fucking bitter with humanity, because the man that she loved chopped her fucking wings off. She manipulated him. He manipulated her just to freaking cut off her wings like he used her. Do you know what I mean? Like, of course she's going to become bitter and nasty towards the man and his family because of that. Do you know what I mean? And so we lose a limb, we're going to be out of homeostasis, balance. So our wings and reclaiming our wings, and by the way, you might have other limbs, right? So if we look at the different realms, you might have had a different trauma, might not be a wing for you. So tune in with that, okay? It reclaims our homeostasis, energetic balance when our wings are back. Yeah. It gives us confidence and courage. Yeah. We can hold ourselves with our wings. We can hug ourselves and love and nurture ourselves. We can love and nurture and hug our kids. We can love and nurture and hug anybody. We can also heal with our hugs because we're hugging with our wings. Very, very powerful. Very, very powerful. Yeah, very powerful. And it is a healing heart. Yeah, same thing. Healing heart heals our heart, having our wings returned. And it is about compassion and care, right? So we can be more caring and compassionate. We can, you know, extend, even if we're not physically hugging somebody, if we're standing there with them and they're upset or they don't want to hug or they don't want to be touched, we can be hugging them with our wings. Yeah. How do you guys feel about hearing about the wings? And how do you feel about all of these aspects of the wings? There is a healing heart meditation that can help you to reclaim your wings. It's a healing heart meditation, but it does help you to reclaim your wings. Yeah. So this would be the section that you'd be working with, the healing heart meditation. This is the finish of our freaking training. We're finishing on our wings. How, like, so your wings can fly. I thought it was very appropriate to finish on the wings. It felt important. Felt very important. Dessa says, my back is tingling, no joke. I believe you. I believe you. I really do. So that is the end of our Trust Intuition live freaking training. Oh my God, you guys are like intuitive healers now. Like, this is huge. It's a big deal. It's a big deal. Reclaiming your wings so now you can fly free and do what you're here to do. Like, big deal, big deal. So freaking big. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Right? I love it. I love it. I love it. I am so proud of you guys. You have just done 14 weeks straight. Whew, massive, massive. I will get all these documents out to you and the recording of like explaining where everything is placed and is at as well, as soon as possible this week, so you guys can start getting through it. And like I said, we're going to do a support call in 2 weeks from now and in 4 weeks from now. So in a month from now and in 2 weeks from now, just so if you guys have got specific questions about the training or what do we do or what do we, like that's what these calls are specifically for. And then you can, get going with it all. Yeah. So you're so welcome, Emma. Leanne says, yay, thank you for taking us through this. It has been an amazing journey. Yes. Desta says, well done, everyone. Thank you, Hannah. You're so welcome. Amazing. Yes. So awesome. And I just love being able to finish on the wings that fly. I just think it's like, oh, so important. Thank you for reminding me about my wings. Kirsty says, wow, it's the end. Yes, I love these trainings so much. And like I said, the trainings are finished, but you got 2 support calls, so you can specifically ask me anything about, the any of the trainings, any of the bits and pieces. Like I said, I'll get you the PDFs and I'll get you the training video that will show you exactly where everything is in Trust Intuition when you log on for the replays, so you can go through, get it all done, and you can ask me any questions as we go. There will be I'll do the support calls on Zoom as well, so we can have chats and whatever about it or whatever if you've got questions. So Christy says, thank you, Hannah, congratulations on completing the journey, everyone. You said complicating, but I think you mean completing. So you're so welcome. I'm so damn proud of you guys. I love you, and we shall see you soon. Oh my God. Celebration time. Everybody can fly around. Can all fly free. We can fly up to the moon and channel around or something. I don't know. I love you guys. See you very soon. I'm so proud of you.